The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and they get.
He missed the complete. That is crazy
As I
stuff.
said, Freitas is on the grass on the infield for 4. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
When you think of the term World Cup, you likely think of soccer or maybe hockey. Believe it or not, the World Cup of iRacing, it does exist, and we have had some fantastic races so far, and that continues this afternoon with 2 more races in the World Cup of iRacing, one on an oval and one on a very popular road course, and you get to see them both on the Global Sim Racing channel and on iRacing Live. I'm Chris Scala along with Shauna Ambrose. Joe Peak is working the dials and in the truck, of course in the truck, and Dougie Beard always working the cameras. And Sean, since October 21st, the World Cup of iRacing has been going on, and last week was the first qualifying round, which brought our clubs down to 16, and then after tonight, 16 becomes 4 as the top scoring club from the 4 groups race next week in the finals. 2 clubs have already clinched, as you might have saw earlier, their spots. 2 more will fill this evening, and you'll see them both again here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Sean, tonight we have 4 clubs in Group C that consist of UK and I, who are heavy favorites. We'll talk about that. Canada, Central Eastern Europe, and Benelux. Sean, let's talk about these 4 clubs and what we're going to see this evening.
Let's definitely look at that now, Chris. Sorry about that. Finger on the wrong button again. And UK and Ireland right now, they are the heavy favorites. Look at the points that they've racked up getting their way here right now. 4,321. I would definitely say they are the heavy favorite. But listen, Canada has come to fight. They will be their best competition in both races today. And anybody who watched Group B here just a little while ago on RaceSpot TV saw a really good fight between our friends there at DEH in Florida. And I think we're going to have that kind of battle here today between Canada and UK and Ireland. Now we've got Central Eastern Europe there, down there, the 10 seed. Benelux is down there, also the 14 seed. Don't know how well those guys are going to show up today. We're going to get a chance to see, but again, I expect to see a really, really good fight between the UK and Ireland and Canada today. That's going to be something great to watch.
And as I'm looking through the practices right now, looking through most of the entries, it is majority UK and I and Canada. We got 3 from Central Eastern Europe and 1 right now from Benelux. So as you mentioned, Sean, it looks like it could be a two club favorite to go try to run for that 1 spot that's going to come out of Group C. But anything can happen here in this afternoon's race. Now, coming up later, we're going to jump into Joe Peak's DeLorean and go to Imola. But first, we're here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, which is in Hampton, Georgia. And it's a 1.54-mile oval that was actually reconfigured back in 1997. It used to be a generic 1.522-mile oval. Of course, it got redid and flipped the straightaways, and a very interesting track to race at, Sean.
Yes, it is. Right here in Hampton, Georgia. You know, I was just south of the track this morning in Atlanta, about 20 miles south of the track. Stopped off and had some of Gladys Knight's famous chicken and waffles, baby, and I am ready to go for this one today. Hot Atlanta Motor Speedway, Fast, Furious, and the Gen 6 coming your way, represented from all over the world today. So we're going to get to see how these boys from over across the pond handle the high speeds and high banks of Atlanta. But listen, we'll let you all take a quick preview here. We'll hop inside the GSRC Gen 6 Chevrolet.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Global Sim Racing channel. I'm Brian Yazek, taking you for a spin around the Atlanta Motor Speedway today in the GSRC Chevrolet SS. Atlanta's a fast, worn out, as you see right there, worn out 1.5 mile oval, and it's very, very tricky to get around. So I'm going to kind of show you how to try to do it. Hot lap, going to aim for that white line, get right down in there, get in there a lot better than I did, because you really want to hug that white line all the way through corner exit and start drifting up right here on the exit of turn 2. Turn 3, kind of a weird entry. The track kind of falls away, and you really try to find the bottom. Probably half throttle all the way through here, 3/4, finally back full throttle. Watch the wheel spin just a little bit, and then that's going to complete your fast lap. Now, as the run progresses, you might see guys venture up here. Atlanta in turns 1 and 2 really, really makes it nice and easy to gun up there and run that top lane. So you're not running the bottom to try to cut it and try to burn off that right front. But 3 and 4, all night you're going to see guys coming right down here to that line, back into the gas, let it roll through the center, back out, watch the wheel spin, come through the first little quad oval there, across the line, and that's going to complete your track guide here around the Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'm Brian Yazik. Enjoy the show.
And that right there is a lap around the fast but slick Atlanta Motor Speedway. You saw, Sean, how you could be right there on that bottom line, especially on the newer tires, but when the tires get old, you want to be running that Kyle Larson line up top there, and that's what makes this track so much fun. Multi-grooves, you're going to see great racing coming up here in just a few minutes. But, Sean, for those who are just watching the World Cup of iRacing for the first time, let's talk about the details for today's race.
Sure. I'm sure we got plenty of new viewers here on iRacing Live, but today we've got the Gen 6. That's the Chevrolet, the Ford, the Toyota, and the Chevrolet. Oh, okay, I like the Chevrolet. Anyway, the setup, it's an open setup, and these teams, trust me, it's collective. This is an organized effort. There's been a lot of practice put into this. They've worked on it, and when I tell you they're all sharing a setup, yes, they're probably all sharing the very best setup that they worked on. So 100% fuel. We're going to have to get at least one stop in a day, but Chris, I'll let you talk about something in a moment. We may not see one pit stop because the last race in Group B went green to checker. We see that today, that maybe there's some different strategy to be played. Best of 2 lap qualifying, 80 laps, 120 miles today here around Atlanta. No fast repairs. That will end your race if you hit the wall here going at high speed. No incidents. Now the yellows are on, and it'll be the NASCAR Lucky Dog we'll be watching here today. Restarts will be double file. The weather here today, 87 degrees. The sun is out, and we've got clear conditions for racing, Chris. And track might be a little greasy. What you think?
I like it. That's good weather there in the Hampton, Georgia area. And you mentioned the pit strategy. The reason why I bring this up, I know the B race went actually green for all 80 laps that we have, and I kind of did some math in my head. I said, would you try maybe a 2-stop strategy, thinking how quickly these tires wear out? And I was actually told throughout the race that actually only 1 stop worked out when it's over with. But tonight, maybe you try to have somebody maybe from a Canada club that might not be winning so much. You say, hey, why don't you try to pit here at like lap 30 or so? Then you got 50 laps to go. Pit at lap 60 at 20 to go, and see if those fresh tires can get you up to the front somehow with the strategy. I think you might lose too much, especially if you get a caution, but what do you got to lose in this kind of deal? So I wouldn't be surprised to see it. Is it likely going to happen? No, but we shall see. Now, I mentioned the points. It's a team structure, and it all comes down to team points, Sean. So let's talk about how that structure is.
Okay, so the scoring system that we're looking at here is 100 points, okay, to first position. Slated on back here all the way down to 1 through 40. Right now, I think we've got about 24, 25 drivers. Now, of course, based on where you finished, you gain those collective points for your team. So this is how it works. If you get all your drivers up in the top 5, you're probably going to have a good day at the office, as they say. That was kind of the battle we saw in the last group. When it came down to getting over to Imola, unfortunately, Florida didn't have enough people to really battle the guys from DEH there, and unfortunately, that cost them in that round, and they'll be moving on, and Florida won't. But the scoring system, lots of ways to earn points, but again, getting as many of your guys up there near the front is the way to victory.
And that's exactly what you need to do here. Now, obviously, there's supposed to be 40 grid spots available. You mentioned, Sean, there's going to be maybe a little bit less than a full field. I know they talked about multiple splits happening, but looks like there's just going to be the one split that we have here this evening, or else the points value would decrease and all that stuff. But one split, which is totally cool. But before we get started, we got a couple minutes here. They're going to qualify in about a minute or so. Let's go over the first 2 races that we saw. We saw obviously the one early this morning that was on Max Speed TV, and then of course the one on Race Spot just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, there were some great races early this morning. Early if you're here in the States Central Time Zone, but tell you what, the Finns were tough. They were tough on the oval. They were tough on the road. They were just awful good, and nobody really had anything for them, unfortunately. Now I will say, It was very chippy, Chris. Australia, and there was a little argy-bargy going on at Imola, and I think some people are no longer on each other's Christmas card list now as a result of that. So Asia, unfortunately, didn't make the road race at all. They didn't do too well on the oval, but they only had one driver. So Asia did all they could to kind of put an effort together, and but it, like I said, it was fun, it was interesting, and it was awful chippy at Imola. So we'll see how things work out here this evening.
And that was Group A, and then of course Group B just wrapped up just a little bit ago.
It did, and a couple of great races on Race Spot TV, and well, there they are, DH. They're going to be moving on. Their dominance on the road there at Imola really helped them out. Florida made a really good showing in Atlanta. Lots of drivers finding their way there up towards the front, and unfortunately, though, they fell a bit short on the road. Didn't have enough. Now, Florida won that race, but unfortunately, the next closest driver, I believe, was Dougie Beard. And I think he finished 14th in that race. So they just didn't have enough people to come on strong there. And Texas gets upset there late. Trozine has trouble at Imola and only picks up 35 points, and unfortunately, that cost them the third place there. So,
did you say Texas didn't look good there, Sean?
Yeah, I did, Chris. I was trying to just kind of move on past that as quickly as I could, but we could. You know what? We're going to get our friend Amjad Yaman on the job, and we're going to get him to try to get this thing whipped together for next year's effort. We'll see what we can do. We're going to get in his ear and maybe bend his arm a little bit, and heck, maybe we'll even back up the truck, get some alumni out, and back up the truck with a little bit of money for him or something. We'll see.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. But congratulations to all the clubs that did make it to the round of 16, and congratulations to the clubs that have made it so far to the finals. And then, of course, after today, after we're done with our round here, Group C, that we'll have our race here at Atlanta, and then, of course, Imola coming up here in just a little bit. Group D will be in action, and, of course, Soup and Richard Losper will be up in the booth as we have to fly back to Richmond, Virginia tonight, but they'll be in the booth getting ready for Group D coming up here this evening. But, Sean, tonight we've got a stacked lineup. I've been looking at some of these names in here, and we've got a good 5 or 6 people from Central Eastern Europe. We got plenty from UK and I. Unfortunately, one guy from Benelux, but Canada's looking well represented here, too. I think we got ourselves a good fight on our hands.
Well, I think we do, and, with 40 grid spots available and what we've got here tonight, they only had 10 spots open for each of these 4 clubs, and only the top 9 drivers from each team score for each split. So, yeah, we've got a dogfight on our hands here. I told you that I thought the fight between Canada and UK and Ireland might be good, but you know what? Benelux got a couple of really good drivers here. Freddie Bessems, I've run with him before actually, and he's a good one. So we'll keep our eyes on him. And Raymond Brekenhoff, don't know a whole lot about him, but he's pretty fast in practice right now. So we'll see what he can do. But this is going to be a good, fast one. Who knows? Maybe we'll get that green checker also.
That would be really cool. I've seen a bunch of names. I've seen some people that I've raced in here with that I think could be contenders tonight. But right now, Matthew Dalton, a 54 car. Matthew representing the UK and I. He is up there and on top. As a matter of fact, Aaron Maspero, who is also a UK and I driver, he is the top 2 right now when it comes to lap times with a 28.382. Maspero with a 4.04. So right now, Dalton, the only one who is in the 3s, but plenty of great drivers. I'll mention a name I know from Canada, Derek Bordeaux, somebody I've raced with plenty of times. The kid's got super talent, can handle a car, especially on a loose track like Atlanta. I think he's going to be one. Looks like he hasn't qualified yet. He could be one name that we'll have to watch tonight. Also, I've Carl Hayes, I have to figure that name out, but I've raced with a few times. Harry Tiller I've raced with a few times. There's some great drivers out here. We've got a pretty stacked field from these 4 clubs.
Yeah, and Central Eastern Europe represented pretty well with Miroslav Sabota, another driver I've raced with, I believe, a time or two, and Bronislav Rovnek, he's here, and I've run with him, and I believe European stock car series I ran in for a little while there. But man, a great mix of drivers, and we're going to get to see them go flat out here in just a few seconds. And good field. The start of this race, Chris, we were talking about it in the pre-race. Those tires really, they start almost feeling like they're going away in the first turn, don't they?
Look, it's one of those deals where you go get a hand cart and you carry the tires to the car. You don't roll them. This track will just eat up tires. This is one of the older paved tracks on iRacing. Not only that, but in NASCAR too, because you got Dover, Auto Club, and of course Atlanta, the third oldest, hasn't been repaved since 1997 when it was reconfigured. As for now, qualifying is all over, and it's time to take a look at the starting lineup for the Group C oval race here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And it will be on the pole, Matthew Dalton, a 28.382 second lap. Alongside him, Aaron Maspero.
Yeah, in the UK and Ireland, they wipe out the first two rows here. Corey Maddock, Ian Cornish in row 2.
And Rob Reed, he'll start alongside Alex Bergeron in row number 3.
And then we've got Derek Bordeaux in 7th and Sahil Mustak in 8th.
Harry Tiller and Christian Challoner in row number 5.
Challoner, a name we're certainly familiar with. We have Raymond Brakenhoff and Carl Heitz back here in row 6.
UKNI Stuart Pomfrey alongside of Peter Nada in row number 7.
And Stuart Pomfrey and Peter Nada in 14th in row 7.
Row 8, you got Miroslav Savoda and Freddie Besums there in row 8.
Starting 17th, row 9, Bronislav Robanek and Jeremy Leto in 18th.
Andrew Packer and Andres Silzans will be the top 20.
All right, then on the 21st, Daryl Slack in the inside of row 11 and Jason Harrison, 22nd.
Austin Derbyshire, he'll start on the inside of row number 12. Alongside him is Tom Katowski.
25th is going to be Marek Ondark, and in the outside of row 13, Denis Razumov.
And the last 3 starters on the grid, 27, John King, 28th, Ernie Ludwig, and Robert Laurent, going to be the 29 drivers that look like will grid here and get ready to run 80 laps, 120 miles on this 1.54 mile oval. Now, Sean, I want to go back to something. There was about a year or so ago, I remember the World Cup of iRacing, and I was covering the Talladega round when they did that. And I remember UKNI looking very good in that race, which doesn't surprise me why they're running here at Atlanta so well. And I see people in our chat already, which, by the way, you can, if you have questions or anything you want to say to us to talk about the racing, you can always chat with us on our Global Sim Racing channel chat, which I have up, so I'll answer the questions, or Sean or Joe or any of us will. But I'm not surprised to see UKNI running this well so far.
No, they've definitely shown a lot of speed, and if they can get out of this oval round strong, they've got a shot here to maybe face the Finns in the finals.
This is going to be very good. I think we're going to have a very fun show here. I think Canada is definitely going to show up. I know those guys, they run ovals just as well as they do the road courses. I know Challoner is a real good road course guy, but can he do it here on the oval? That's something we're going to find out here. But once again, 80 laps, 120 miles. Sit back. Hopefully you've had your breakfast on Max Speed TV. You had your lunch on Race Spot, and now it's dinner time here on the Global Sim Racing channel. So hopefully you got your popcorn, your appetizer, your steaks on the grill, whatever you're going to make. I had to get the food in there, Sean. But either way, let's get racing and let's get ready for 80 laps.
That was almost Soup's pre-race meal there. Good stuff. Here goes that pace car, Chris.
In we go, 80 laps. Who's going to do it? UKNI, Canada, Benelux, or Central Eastern Europe? We're green in Atlanta. And already the guys working together for UKNI. Dalton's going to get the start to the inside on Maspero. And Connery Maddock there on the inside, going to go single file all the way back to 4th.
Boy, spreading out. Still just the back of the field just now getting out of turn 2, Chris.
And you can see already the High Line trying to go to work. You see the 22 car That's Rob Reed. He's going to take the 4th position already at 81, falling back just a little bit, just waiting for that high line to come into play. And I think you got to let the tires heat up before you can do that.
Boy, a lot of patience being shown here early, guys. Just really trying to settle in. Field is just spreading out all over the place here, Chris.
Yeah, the battle here, Derek Bordeaux. You got Rob Reed in the 22, Alex Bergeron in the 19, Bordeaux in that 26 is going to be fast. I'm going to tell you that just from racing with this guy plenty. He's going to go after that 4th position. Reed, though, not going to let that high line go to work. Already you see the cars starting to move up half a track, kind of working their way to the bottom. You see the high groove. It's going to come to play already 3 laps in. These tires, they feel like Jell-O. They're like, guys, get me off these tires quickly.
Yeah, and they didn't get that opportunity in the last race in Group B. And I'll tell you what, the way this one is starting, they may not get it here. Again, I'm really a little surprised at how much the field is spread out already. I think we've got a lot of guys that saw what happened in that last race settling in for a long one here.
Christian Challoner making the move up to 6th as he gets by the 19 of Alex Bergeron. Meanwhile, up here for 3rd, got a 3-car battle here the outside. Derek Bordeaux making his moves. Going to pass by the 17 and look to attack the 41 of Maspero. His caution is out. Trouble turn 2. Andrew Packer has gone around.
Yeah, Packer's around. It looks like it was coming out of turn 2, Chris. And it was. Got a little bit of the apron coming off the 2. And car, as he was coming off the turn, got around. Let's look at it on the replay here. We'll get a better shot of it.
Yeah, thank goodness there's safer barriers on that inside. He did kind of ride that white line, the Harvick line as we call it here at Atlanta, as he slides up and that back end just wants to pass on by, and he hits hard right there.
Yeah, and that inside retaining wall, not any fun. Much like Texas Motor Speedway, a track that's compared to Atlanta occasionally, that trip off a 2 is very sketchy, and if you lose it, it's hard to recover. And unfortunately, that inside retaining wall comes up very, very quick. Ruins the front end of the car and probably ruins your race in most cases.
Some contact
Everybody
on pit
coming
road.
down. Yeah.
Bergeron in the 78, heavy damage on the 19. He's got no hood now.
Oh boy.
That's not a good way you want to start.
Little controversy early.
Everybody should be taking 4 tires. You could see 2 here, but I highly doubt it.
Now remember, there's no damage repair. You're not going to get one free fast repair to fix any. And in time, so important here on the pit road as they all make their way off. Drag it to the line. Look at that, 3 wide.
I think we have 1 2-tire guy, Raymond Brackenoff, pitted in 13th, is going to come out 2nd there behind the 54, Matthew Dalton. Alex Bergeron will be 3rd. Maspero with a slow stop back to 4th, and Connery Maddock will be the top 5. All right, so 5 laps. We kind of saw what we had there in front of us with the UK and I and Canada up there in the front. The car's already working their way up to the top. We get this thing strung out. How long can we really make these tires work? Because now we're looking at, you're going green here about lap 38 or lap 8. So you're going to go 30 laps, would be 38. You probably want to make it lap 40, that pit stop, and make it a 1-stop race now.
I thought for a moment there, my old buddy Freddie Bessems was going to keep that car out there, but he decides to do the smart thing, bring it down. Don't want to get run over early in this race.
I'll take you through the rest of the top 10. I mentioned Maddock there in 5th. Derek Bordeaux is going to restart 6th. Reed going to start in 7th. You got Nada 8th. And you mentioned that 9th place driver, one that we're going to watch here coming up on the road course, is Christian Challoner. And then, of course, Sahil Mustak there in the 10th position.
Yeah, I don't think we should underestimate Challoner's road ability. He's fast in just about anything I've ever seen him in, so I wouldn't count him as someone who doesn't have a chance of winning this race. I think he's got every chance of winning this race, and he has a little experience driving the B-class cars, the Silhouette pony cars in the Sox Out Racing Series, and they're running there tomorrow. And so I know he's used to these cars. He's used to the using a little bit of the oval. I think Challoner got a good shot to be up in this thing before it's all said and done with.
So unfortunately, Team Canada has lost one of their drivers already, the 67, Andrew Packer, losing it off turn 2. That brought out the first caution here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway at lap number 7. Should be getting one to go this time by, which will lead us 72 laps to go. And when you look at it now, you split the race in half, Sean. 36 and 36, you get your 72. So it's probably a one-stopper from here.
Yeah, definitely. If the green flag stays out, I don't know that you're going to want to risk it much more than that.
I mean, obviously, you're going to have different strategies. I mean, if you're these teams, you got people probably doing the longer run, and you probably got other drivers who, you know what, you get to lap 35, get on pit road, and get these tires fixed. So I could see different strategies from different clubs depending on who runs where. Maybe you get a guy who might be struggling back in like 15th, have him do the long run to try to catch a caution and get guys a lap down. But then you get somebody like Dalton from UK&I or one of the Canadian drivers there, have them stay out or pit early, and they could jump up there and get track position. But that's what makes this fun, the World Cup of iRacing and all the different drivers from the different clubs. We have 4 here with UK&I, Canada, Benelux, and of course the Central Eastern Europe regions. One of the 4 that we have mentioned will move on to the finals coming up here next week. And what has been a very competitive World Cup of iRacing. Pace car is going to hang a left here. Once he decides to, he might want to join the race. Who knows? There he goes. Hangs a left. Matthew Dalton going to lead him to the green flag here at lap number 8 as we're back to racing in Atlanta.
Oh boy, having trouble getting him restarted there, Chris.
Yeah, the 80 had trouble getting those older tires. He's going to get jumped.
Some drivers certainly not happy. Going 3 wide out of 2.
Wow. Everybody's sorting it out. Calmer heads prevailed. It is only lap number 8, but it is going to be Dalton Bergeron up to the 2nd position. He must have got that damage fixed on that 19 after the contact on pit road. You got the 17 up to 4th behind the 41. The 80 back to the 7th position already of Raymond Brackenoff after taking 2 tires, and now he slaps the outside wall going into 1, which is easy to do here.
Yeah, and certainly not prescribed. Driver on the move. Derek Bordeaux is really running right now. He's got up on the
for the
outside.
lead. Bergeron, Canada to the front. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, well, his Canadian teammate back here right on the door, Challoner, side by side out of 4.
Boy, UK&I and Canada, they are definitely bringing a fight here early. Dalton going to fall back to 2nd into the hands of Maspero, who's going to look to the inside. 3 wide off 2.
Oh, man, and Challoner was on the inside there. It was the 22 of Rob Reed stuck in the middle.
Stuck in the middle with you, as they say.
And Bordeaux is still on the move. Still on the move. A wiggle out of 4. Bordeaux up to 4.
Yeah, Bordeaux looking good as you ride on board with Challoner. He's on the outside there of Maddock. You just see the different lines here. Now, the one thing that you don't want to do on this track is ride those seams. You see those seams that are in the middle of the corners? Those things can make you spin.
Yeah, Challoner kind of running that higher line right now up the track and taking care of the tires here early. He's settled out of that battle. He's happy with where he's at right now.
Right now, the battle on for 3rd. Maspero to the inside. Bordeaux looking for it, and he might be thinking 3 wide with the 54. Oh, there's barely room there. Canada looking strong on the ovals.
Yeah, and I want you to watch Bordeaux's car the next time he comes off a 2. Watch the way that car gets off of turn 2, Chris.
There was a reason why I said before the race he was going to be good. I've watched Bordeaux. I've raced with him plenty of times. I've never seen a guy who can drive a loose race car like him. The guy can drive a car, and he's definitely showing his skill here as he's about to go for the lead on his teammate. Oh, he gets a little loose, the 19 does, Bergeron. And right off the bat, Bordeaux with the elevator move for the lead. He got it.
Yeah, and Challoner moves up to 3rd at exactly the same time.
A lot of passing. That's what Atlanta Motor Speedway is all about. You just don't want to wear tires out as we complete lap 15 next time by.
In the back of the field, just coming across the start and finish line, that's Mark Androck. He's sitting in 26th right now.
Yeah, Andrak there in that Ford riding out there on his own a little bit here, but some great racing throughout in the battle for second. Challenger, we talked about him being a road course guy. Somebody said in chat he looks good on the ovals. Yeah, he does. Going to take the second position away from Bergeron, and meanwhile back here for fourth, Dalton. And the 19 under attack with Bergeron.
Little secret about Challenger, he's actually working on his pro right now in the Oval Series. So the road to pro for Challenger.
He's definitely showing his talents on here on the track. Him and Bordeaux seem to be the two fastest cars so far, but there's still plenty of racing to go. 63 laps to go next time by.
63 laps, and it looks like they're getting ready to catch the back of the field. That's Austin Derbyshire actually sitting there in 27th. Actually have 27 cars still on track.
Which is great, obviously, when you see 29 or 28 started, because I saw that King is actually an admin for the race. So 28 starters in this race. And you only have 27 out of the 28 still there, as Packer, the only car off track after hitting that wall in turn 2, bringing out the only caution so far. For third, Bergeron, that outside line, trying to go to work as he works the outside. Maspero able to hold him off. Dalton, Maddock back here. You got Rob Reed back in the 7th position. Harry Tiller here in 8th. Ian Cornish back there in the 9th position. Just great side-by-side racing everywhere. We trying to catch it all for you.
Yeah, Rob Reed still hanging on to it there in the 22. He was up as high as 5th there, I think, at one point. He's still battling for it. It's just up in front of him.
And Rob Reed started back in the he started in the 5th position, so running pretty much where he started there in the 7th spot. Lost a couple of positions, but just holding on. That's all you can do right now to get to the finish. You got to first be there, as we always say.
Well,
17.
You know, when you sense a run is coming for a long green flag, you really just got to settle in and take care of it for a while. You can't push too hard.
No, you can't, because you got to save those tires. Especially at a track like Atlanta, these tires are going to wear, and they wear pretty much as soon as they hit the track.
Boy, it seems like Bergeron might have been digging too hard early. It looks like he's having a little trouble with the handle on it right now. Oh, he gets a piece of the wall coming into 3.
Yeah, got a little too high there, scraped it up. That's not going to help the 19, as he's going to fall back to the 7th position. Rob Reed's going to get by him for 6th. And for the lead, Challenger to the inside of Bordeaux. Oh, and Bordeaux's in the wall.
Pressure, pressure. Bordeaux dropping like a rock. Everybody coming by.
So your third leader of the race, Christian Challenger. You see Bordeaux with his hands full. He might have worn those tires out. Not to mention, I'm sure the handling on that 26 after scraping the wall, not the best right now. As he almost gets the wall again there.
I said he was dropping like a rock. It was Austin Derbyshire that was actually in the wall, and they were all getting by him. The Team Canada driver having trouble with it still, but good battle up front indeed.
I guess if there is one downfall to having the same paint scheme on a bunch of cars, you could get mixed up with others.
You do occasionally, yes. I'm finding it a bit of a challenge, but I've gathered it up. I feel good.
A great Saturday afternoon racing here on the Global Sim Racing channel and on iRacing Live. We appreciate all those who have joined us and have been here for throughout the day with the World Cup of iRacing, all the different clubs. This is Group C, which we got another group coming up here in just a little bit with Soup and Richard Losmer will be on GSRC taking care of that later on this afternoon. That first race starting at 7 o'clock this evening for Group D. They'll be here at Atlanta, and of course Imola, which we have Group C at Imola coming up here after this. But first, we got to finish 55 laps here at Atlanta. Right on board with Bordeaux.
Yeah, and let's ride on board with him here and just take a look real quick. He seems like he's struggling just a bit right now here, and it could be the pressure of trying to get to Challenger there, but he's got some pressure just right behind him there. Maspero filling up his mirror, and again, I just doesn't seem like he's got a good handle on the car right now, making him struggle just a bit. Challenger continuing to open his gap just a little bit every lap.
Right now, that gap about 9/10 of a second on Bordeaux. Maspero there in third. You got Matthew Dalton fourth. Connery Maddock there in the fifth position. And you see already these leaders starting to work their way up on a lap car. The 72 of Andrak, you mentioned, Central Eastern Europe. Member there in the 26th position. He'll be their first lap car of Challenger when he gets there.
Now the battle here, 4th, 5th, and 6th, isn't a real battle. It's 3 UK and I drivers sitting there, and they're working together. Now Team Canada right behind him. That's Alec Bergeron. He's still in this.
Bordeaux is loosening the wall.
Oh boy!
Turn 4, he slams the wall hard.
Oh boy, he sure does.
No caution so far.
Just loose off, totally loose off the floor. On the replay, on board with him here, Chris.
Yeah, that back end just swamps right in. Manny hits that wall in a bad angle, too. He's going to pull that car down, and that's going to hand the 41 of Maspero up to second. Matthew Dalton will move up to third. It's now a UK and I, 1, 2, and 3, I believe. As Jason Harrison on pit road, but he's a lap car in 26. He's got damage.
And that's going to be an ender for that driver, unfortunately. That's a shame. Going to be hard to come back. That car hit so hard. Did a great job of keeping it out of the racing line and letting those guys get by. It does not bring out the yellow. I'm sure a few of those drivers would have preferred to have one.
Now you see why right here, why UK&I is the number 2 seed entering this tournament. They have the top 5 spots right now. And more. Yeah, your first Canada driver back in the 6th position of Rob Reed, the top 5, all UK&I drivers.
Yeah, it's, I'll tell you, Canada's got a lot of work to do. Don't see many of their drivers near the top 10 right now in this race. Yeah, we still got a lot of time left, but for as long as the green flag stays out and the gaps continue to widen, it's going to be a tougher task to handle here in the closing laps.
As a matter of fact,
And Miroslav Sabota gets a spot there. That's the Ford Fusion there, Central Eastern Europe.
Got Peter Nada on pit road here. I was just checking to see if this could be a scheduled pit stop or if this could be some kind of strategy here for the 001 car. Another Canada driver. Right side tires going on. It looks like a routine pit stop so far here. This could be a strategy on their part. 4 tires and fuel. He's gone. We'll have to keep an eye on him now and see how this goes.
Oh boy, Bronislav Romanek was bad loose coming off of turn 1 and still trying to hang on to it. The 63 having trouble getting out of 2. Looks like he might have visited the wall once or twice there on that right front, looking a little wrinkled up. Bronislav trying to hang on to 13th spot.
He's under attack by Swoboda here. This track, these tires, they're to the point now where you're not full throttle until you're fully on the straightaway.
Swoboda doing a really good job of trying to get that Central Eastern Europe machine up there into the top 10.
Yeah, he's trying everything he can. I mean, obviously, Central Eastern Europe, not many people in this race this evening or this afternoon, but I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 members from Central Eastern Europe, so 6 out of their 10 possible slots. So looks like an issue between Connery Maddock and Matthew Dalton. Dalton had a little bit of an adventure on the front stretch. He got a little loose there in that quad oval. That's what exactly happened there. He went through the grass, didn't lose. Looks like he's going to lose about 2 spots. But you just see how easy it is for that back end to get loose, especially on those older tires, you got to be careful through that quad oval. Those are 2 turns in there. But Dalton going to be back in the 5th position now after being up to 2nd. Checking on Nada, the 001, a little unhappy with somebody as he's got a way faster car. He's got to be very patient with these fresher tires, but Nada back in the 24th position. He is a lap down, but look at the run he gets here on the 51. Going Linda Ronstadt, Blue Bayou. Passing another car, passing another car. That's what these tires mean in Atlanta. This is why I talked about the strategy. That one's for you, Soup.
So Bergeron had his trouble early, but it seems like the car has settled in for him just a bit now. He's back on pace with the rest of the field. Sitting there in 6th, not a bad place to be. The Canada driver holding out hope for the team. Is the only driver in the top 15 right now, sitting comfortably in 6th, and again seems to have a handle on the car again, which is a good thing.
Yeah, Bergeron, he's had a couple battles with the wall, a battle on pit road with another car, and one thing is, it's the pace car so far, but he's doing a great job holding on to that 6th position in a race that's being dominated right now by UK and I. Canada had some drivers up in the top 10, but unfortunately they've fallen by the wayside here as we are on this long run. Some, good 30, 35 lap run almost now.
Yeah, Bergeron starting to reel in Dalton just a bit. That's another good spot right up in front of him. Oh boy, looking to the inside, getting a really nice run down low.
Some drivers unhappy with others. But you mentioned Dalton, yeah, him and at 19, Bergeron, 64 off the pace there as they had to work their way past him. A lot of unhappiness out here on the track. I'm hearing people calling people names out here, so there's definitely a little bit of some heated rivalries out here on this track.
Heated indeed. Yes. I was in a practice session last night where someone was accusing someone else of not being from the right team and had no business being in there. It was pretty heated.
All for the fame of representing your club. Now, I do want to go back to the 13th and 14th place battle. We've had some great fighting, but how about these two still hanging out together? Miroslav Svoboda and Roslav Romaniak, as you mentioned, and you got the guy behind him, Denis Razumov. Those are 3 names that you could probably win a game of Scrabble with, but they're doing a great job. 13th, 14th, and 15th.
I'm still stuck on this battle here between Bergeron and Dalton. It's a good one. Oh, boy. Bergeron really, really loose off the top of turn 4. Still manages to hang on, keep the battle going side by side with Matthew Dalton. Oh, now he's got to back off just a bit. The car was running all the way up to the wall.
Yeah, watch this run, though. Watch this run, though. That's what this top side will do at Atlanta. Gets that high line running to the inside. He should be able to complete this pass in turn 3 right there.
Yeah, and Dalton didn't want any part of it. He backs out, lets him go. Yeah, it's almost kind of like running down the hill, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, pretty much, because what happens is you got to remember it's a wider radius when you're up there on the top side. And a battle for the lead. Challenger had some kind of issues. Maspero has gone by. Not sure what happened to Challenger. We'll have to see, but Maspero has gone by for the lead. Rob Reed all of a sudden up to 2nd.
Boy, just a moment ago, Raymond Brekenhoff had a problem. That driver was in 12th and slips back to 14th. Had to run it down, do a little lawn maintenance there on the front stretch there, Chris.
Yeah, that's not good to have a bill in the mail when it's all over with. I did go back and check out Challenger. He just fell back. Tires might be worn off on the Challenger car, the 78, and that's allowed him to fall back to 3rd and might be in trouble there because here comes Maddock. Maddock goes by. Maddock goes by for the 3rd position. I'm looking to see now if Challenger got the wall or something. Maybe there's something I missed there. His car looks fine on the right side.
Yeah, it looks. Oh, he's fighting it again.
Woo, it's loose.
Boy, that car is wicked right now. Yeah, still turning.
I'm surprised we're not seeing some pit stops out of cars right now because, I mean, you're past halfway. As soon as I say that, Matthew Dalton.
Yeah,
he's going to be coming to pit road. I was going to say, we're already past halfway here. Why not get to pit road and get your tires?
Challenger's coming in. Challenger's coming in.
Challenger's coming. You got who else coming? A lot of people coming. 19.
Bergeron sliding through the pit.
Oh!
Almost clips Challenger.
Almost got a couple crew members, too, but keeps it out of trouble.
Oh, boy.
Watch this ride. This is why they wear helmets on pit road. Whee!
And everybody grabbing 4 tires. Got to take all 4 here.
Oh, the 54 was shooting his pit stall.
Now, Bergeron's probably going to get stuck in the pit. The penalty on that? Maybe?
No, he's out. No, he's all good.
He is out. No. Wow.
Now, this should bring everybody to pit road. Usually when one car pits, here comes the field. Rob Reed coming to pit road now. Here's Manick on pit road.
They waited one more, and that will probably get just about everybody through.
17 almost overshot his pit stall. We got one car in the grass, Daryl Slack. And one car had to, jump the grass to go by him.
Wow. Getting dicey off on the pit cycle.
I guess we should have mentioned Atlanta is not the easiest pit road to get on, too. '81 on pit road. You got Razumov coming off pit road. Ian Cornish pitting from P2. Mustak, the leader right now. He is still yet to pit.
Got Mustak and Svoboda still out there on track. Andres Salinas is Silsons is still out also. And
now,
Mustak comes in.
Mustak coming to pit road. Svoboda's coming to pit road. He gets to cone. That might not be good. Yellow cone is not going to be happy on Twitter. Mustak getting 4 tires and fuel. That 18 car.
Well, that round of pit stops just messed everything up, didn't it?
It did. You know, it's going to hand the lead to, and this is where it gets interesting because you're going to want to caution now if you are Peter Nada. He is going to be the leader here because of the tires he took about 10 laps or so ago.
Well, yeah, remember that. And you know, it was like, we got some strategy going on. Yeah, we absolutely did. Nada really, really hoping for a caution line right about now.
But now he is going to be the guy that's going to get hawked down and passed by everybody with the fresh tires. So he needs a caution.
Bergeron coming through. I'm sorry, Chris, coming through down the front. Just blows past 4 cars. Just cuts right through them.
And not only that, he gets by the 41. Yeah, he passes the 41 too.
He passed him like he was standing still. It was like a bull in a china shop the way he came through there.
So the 3 cars yet to pit. Peter Nada is Silason's on pit road now, and then Challenger will now move up to second. So Nada is the only car left to pit, which technically he already did, but he's going to get hawked down here. Watch Challenger. He's going to blow by him right now for the lead. That's how the tires come into play. So Challenger is going to take the lead. Nada is going to fall back quickly as Bergeron up to 3rd.
Bergeron getting a piece of the wall, going into 3.
That safer barrier will reach out and touch you.
Aaron Masparo's hot on his tail.
Bergeron, pretty much the only hope for the front of the field right now for Canada. He has been living a good fight and is up in the 2nd position there. He's got the 41 Maspero all over him. Rob Reed, he comes out in 5th. He's about 4 seconds back. And then 4.9 back is Connery Manick. Harry Tiller up to the 7th position. Jeremy Leto, we haven't mentioned his name at all. He's 8th. Matthew Dalton back to 9th after overshooting his pit stall. Some 10 seconds back now, but 29 to go.
Nada 2 seconds slower than the cars passing him right now.
Yeah, he needs a caution now. Maspero making his move for 2nd. That low line, you see the track kind of rubbering up a little bit. That low line is fast, but eventually have to get to the high side.
Yeah, I don't think Bergeron wants any part of letting him have that position. He's going to keep fighting. Gonna try and cross him over here. He comes down the hill, Chris.
He's got him. Maspero going to move up to second, so a great run for that 41, passing Bergeron for third, or for second.
Yeah, and Bergeron didn't quite get the run there off the top of the hill. I was a little surprised. I thought he'd make a run back at him.
Could be saving his tires just a little bit.
He could. He very well could. Just got out here with tires. Don't want to make him angry yet.
Not at all. Got 14 cars on the lead lap.
Here comes Nada. 22
Nada.
laps was enough on those tires. He's in.
I think he got a speeding penalty because he just said something on the radio that would make you think he's not a happy camper. We'll have to watch him here as he gets 4 tires and fuel. Right side's going on. Left side's on, and you notice he's still sitting there. Penalty for speeding on pit road for Nada.
Boy, tough break for Nada. Throw that strategy out the window. Good battle back here. Bronislav Probanek and Peter Brekanoff. Brekanoff getting by on the inside, side by side.
Now that's the battle for the first car lap down.
Oh. And
Brekanoff gets by.
Yeah, Brekanoff gets loose, though, in front of Svoboda.
Which actually I changed that because now Freddie Bessems has gone a lap down in the 13th position. Challenger just putting cars up and down. His lead, 3.1 seconds over Maspero. He's led 26 laps so far.
You know, some things you just can't unsee. When your director sends you messages and you can't resist.
Him and I are thinking alike. Let's just say that. I mean, I guess you could use it in different ways, but why don't you go ahead and say it, Sean? Do you want to?
Would you say Peter's effort was all for Nada?
Wow. Oh, Leto into the wall right in front of the leader. Challenger's trying to save it. He's got damage, but caution's going to come out. And Challenger is not happy. It's the 84, Jeremy Leto, has brought out the second caution, and the leader's in it.
Yeah, Leto gets up in the wall after contact with the 32. It all started coming into turn 3. I don't even think they made contact, but Leto goes up in the wall, and the car starts to turn down the track, clips Challenger.
Maybe some netcode there, maybe. But well, no, the contact with Challenger definitely happened. I'm just wondering more if there was netcode before he went
32,
up the track with the 32.
Well, Leto's car is definitely junk, and not quite sure how Challenger fared yet. I gotta check in with him, but man, that's not good.
He's coming to pit road now, as well as all the other leaders. The 12 now, 11 that are on the lead lap.
Well, guess who got his pit stop?
Peter Nada?
Well, no, but I'm looking at Challenger's car. He's got pretty heavy damage on that machine. Front end, right front. May all be cosmetic, but I don't know. The aero is so important here. Such a fast track. That's going to be tough for him to
Race
recover
on pit
from.
road. Bergeron's going to get it now. I wonder if he tail slapped the inside wall, though. We have to look at that 19's left side. He had a little bit of a tank slapper coming off of pit road there.
Yeah, he did. He wrinkled it up just a little bit on the left rear. Not much. I think he'll be okay.
Challenger still getting his car fixed. He's just coming off pit road now. And that's 78, and you can see the right front damage there. That's definitely pushed in on the tire a little bit.
Yeah, that's just a really, really tough break. Challenger just in the wrong spot at the wrong time. Nowhere to go.
Challenger's led so far in this race 29 out of the 58 laps that have been completed for UK and I, but now the lead's going to go to Canada. The one, you can almost say, bullet that Canada has right now in the top 10. Alex Bergeron up there in the lead. Aaron Maspero going to be in second. Rob Reed, he'll be up to third. Harry Tiller having a nice, quiet run. He is up there to fourth. Connery Maddock there in 5th. Ian Cornish up to the 6th position. And 7th, you got Matthew Dalton, who led some laps early. You got Sahil Mustak there in 8th. Carl Heitz in 9th. And then back there in 10th is Challoner. I'm just looking to see country representation here. Ian Cornish from UK&I. So, yeah, a lot of UK&I guys up here in the front. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
pretty much all but the leader is from UK&I.
Yeah, they are definitely outnumbering the field right now in the top 10, but Canada stands alone at the top. Alex Bergeron. I can hear it now, Chris. Oh, Canada.
I kind of look at this as, I referenced earlier, you think of World Cup, you think of soccer and hockey and things. You think of hockey, you think of Canada. It's almost like a hockey match here. You got the one guy from Canada, which you got 3 teams in Canada, and all the rest of the NHL, that's from the United States. Here you got UK&I.
Yeah, this is a good battle. Points-wise, it may not wind up being as quite as close as we thought going into this, but Bergeron, I referenced him as the bull in the China shop earlier. He's seen a lot of action, brother, in this race, and we're getting ready to do this again. The lights are off, and they are pacing around. We're getting ready to go green here in just a moment, Chris.
Yeah, I should mention Brackenoff, Robanek, Swoboda, and Slack all took the wave around here. Also, Merrick Ondrak took the wave around. So 5 cars going to get back on the lead lap. That'll put 17 on the lead lap as we get ready to go back to racing here. They're going to need a caution PDQ pretty quick.
Yes, they're going to need a little bit of help.
And Sean, you're already being told to stop that by our good friends at the Bootleg Racing League. Just want to get that out there to you.
They want me
Gotta
to stop.
behave, Sean. Behave, Sean. Pace car coming off of pit road. We complete lap number 61 while 19 laps to go. Alex Bergeron of Canada, Aaron Masperio of UK&I going to lead him back to the green. It's really going to pick up now.
Boy, Bergeron gets off to a great start there, Chris. Down into 1. He is the leader. No doubt about it.
He gets a really good jump, already pulling out to a 4/10 of a second lead. Maspero up to second, to battle for third. Harry Tiller there on the outside. Rob Reed on the inside. The 81 of Ian Cornish in there too. And here comes Challoner up to the 8th spot already.
Yeah, Challoner, no stranger from racing behind. I still like his chances, even with a little bit of damaged car. Tiller having a quiet race, though, gets off to a great restart, finds himself in third.
And already Bergeron starting to watch his mirror get kind of packed up a little bit with Aaron Maspero. As you ride with Challoner, already up to the 5th position. I think that car is okay.
Yeah, the reports of its early demise have been grossly over-exaggerated, sir.
Right now you see that bottom line being the fastest. They're on those fresh tires. Here in the next 5 to 10 laps, you'll see that high line come back to work, but the 41 of Maspero already down about a 10th or so. He is slowly chipping away at that Bergeron lead. Here he goes, move to the inside. Now Bergeron could be saving tires. And right in front of him here, Andrew Packer's going to get on the track from Canada. He was involved in the first caution. He's going to be a slower car. See if he's going to play a role here. Looks like he's going to get up to speed off turn 4, so he shouldn't be, but Bergeron is fighting.
Oh boy, and this is exactly what Challoner wants to see happening in front of him right now as he tries to get his way back to the front. He's got to get around Rob Reed to do it, but they've got a good picture to that show going on in front of him.
Maspero's going to clear him. And Maspero's going to clear to the lead. Bergeron with a good run off too. Harry Tiller's like, hey, I want a piece of this too, please.
You know, I think if Challoner's hurting anywhere right now, it might be in the top end speed just a little bit, Chris. Reed looking for a move to the inside on Tiller as they come across the line.
Good run for Reed on the inside. And that could help Challoner later in the run because you're not going to need the top speed. It's all about handling. Reed going to get third. Challenger going to go with him for fourth. Oh, scraping to the wall for 112. Tiller getting it.
Here comes Ian Cornish looking to take a spot away from his teammate.
Tiller going to go all the way back to the 5th position from 3rd. Make that 6th. Bergeron trying to work that high side, not able to get the run that time on Maspero. Meanwhile, Rob Reed is there looking for 2nd. Trying to get a UKNI podium sweep here.
They're going to try. And tell you what, I just got a feeling Bergeron's just not going to let that happen.
Oh, Bergeron's going to do whatever he has to do to stand for that red and white. Flips that apron a little bit. That's not going to help him. He's going to push up the track, almost get the wall. Rob Reed's going to get 2nd easily here. Bergeron tried the Harvick line, as I call it, and wasn't able to hold it. And here comes Challenger.
They better be careful. They got an angry mob behind him here, led by Ian Cornish. That's 5th on back to 9th.
And these are all UKNI drivers here. So it's pretty much one Canada driver versus all the UKNI. And just looking here, out of all the Central Eastern Europe guys, I do want to give them a shout out. Their best driver right now running in the 11th position, and that is Denis Razumov. And in the Benelux guys, we really haven't mentioned them much. You got Raymond Brackenoff up in the 13th position, and Freddie Bissums in 12th. So 12th and 13th for the two guys from the Benelux area.
And you know, in a race that hasn't seen heavy gains by a lot of drivers, Denis Razumov stands above everybody. He's up 15 spots to 11th. He's had a heck of a race. He's been digging.
A great job there so far. And Maspero, part of the UKNI club, up in the lead right now. And the only non-UKNI guy is right there in 4th. And that's Alex Bergeron. Canada's going to need a big showing on the road course.
Yeah, something tells me that might be hard to do. I know some of these guys on the road course from the UKNI, and they're going to be tough to beat for sure. Not all of these drivers will be over in the Imola race. We'll probably see some different drivers. Very strategic the way they qualified for this.
Which is very smart, and we'll have to see how that works. But for those who just joined us, what's going on? It's the World Cup of iRacing. 2 clubs have already qualified as Packer gets up in the wall trying to let the leaders go, but 2 clubs have already qualified out of the 16. We have a group of 4 here and a group of 4 tonight in Group D that you'll see on Global Sim Racing Channel at about 7 o'clock with Soup and Ricky Mosmer. That 67 is scaring me.
Yeah, everybody having to get by Andrew Packer right now. He makes contact.
Maddock.
Corey Maddock makes contact with Maddock, and Maddock hits the wall awful hard. The green flag is still out. I've got to remind you, the green flag is still out.
It is still out, but he did hit that wall hard. You're going to see he's just trying to get out of the way, but the wall unfortunately grabs him and it sends him back down. That's just a tough spot.
Maddock able to get his car down on the apron and slow into the pit. Car is heavily damaged.
And for second, I should say, Maspero leading it, but Challenger has gone to second past Reed. The UKNI fight among themselves.
Challenger just got to be sawing on that wheel right now. I know that car is not handling like it should with the damage it's got on the right front. Right up on the bumper of our leader. To the inside.
Restarted 10th 15 laps ago, and now on lap 75, Christian Challenger back to the lead. What damage? He almost scraped it up there.
He got a little bit of it. Just want to make sure he makes weight there at Tech at the end of this race. Got a little extra weight. He's got trouble just in front of him. That's the lap car of Austin Derbyshire having trouble getting off of turn 4.
I've been waiting to say this. I've been waiting to say this. You know what Derbyshire is saying behind him? Not the leaders are coming. The British are coming.
Yes, they're on their way. Challoner does not want to get hung up behind somebody or get involved with somebody else trying to get around. Derbyshire stays out of the way, goes up on the high side of the track. Got to stay out of the wall. Be careful up there.
Just run your line. Don't look in the mirror. Just run your line is all you need to do when you're a lap car. Let the guys work their way past you, and they will. 3 to go.
Really?
Already. Oh, you talking about the lap car thing?
No, I'm talking about 3 laps to go.
Well, yeah.
Amazing.
Hey, it's what happens. Time flies when you're having fun.
Boy, Sahil Mustak just barely gets by Austin Derbyshire.
Everybody pretty much single file. As we get to 2 to go, a 7/10 of a second lead for Challoner.
Well, I believe, if I remember correctly, Challoner's won a Hard Charger of the Race award over in the Sox Out Racing League before, doing a similar type duty, having to restart back in the field and making his way up to the front. Doing it again here today, just hanging on to it, coming out of 4.
And white flag coming out this time. Challoner is taking it. We're on the final lap here in the oval session of the World Cup of iRacing.
21 laps, tires on that car. You got it hanging on a ragged edge, coming around one last time.
If we're going to sum up the Group C oval action, how about we use the word domination? Christian Challoner comes off of turn 4. UKNI dominates Atlanta with Challoner going to victory lane. As one car is in the grass, the 63. And one car on its top, Tiller goes wrecking off 4.
That was a good race there, but let's look at this replay here real quick. Focus on Tiller. That's the 112 there going around down.
You see the 63 sitting there. Wow.
Yeah. That was Bronislav Romanek sitting there.
He's probably wondering, man, do you even get the license plate number of that car? Well, let's take a look at the final standings. You're going to notice one common pattern out of all of these guys. It is Christian Challoner taking the victory. Aaron Maspero going to finish in the 2nd position. Rob Reed going to get 3rd. Those 3 drivers all from UKNI. 4th place, Alex Bergeron, the one Canadian driver in the top 10. All the rest, UKNI. Ian Cornish, Matthew Dalton, Harry Tiller, Sahil Mustak, and Carl High is going to be 9th. And how about this? That changed. I said UKNI all the way to the top 10. How about Denis Razumov of Central Eastern Europe getting the top 10 for those guys?
He certainly does. Not a bad effort for those guys. They do get a car in the top 10. And let's go back to 11th now. And that there is going to be Freddie Bessems for Benelux. And Raymond Briganoff for Benelux also there in 12th. Miroslav Sabota, 13th. Daryl Slack, 14th. Bronislav Romanek, end of the race there. Pretty wild finish there in the infield. Mark Ondrak, he finished 16th. Stuart Pomfrey, 17th. Ernie Ludwig, 18th. Robert Laurent at 19th. And Andres Silsens, 20th.
And looking at the rest of the 28-car field that started this race, Tom Katowski finishing 21st, Austin Derbyshire 22nd, Jason Harrison 23rd, Connery Maddock, a tough incident there at the end, 24th, Peter Nada 25th, Jeremy Leto 26th, Derek Bordeaux 27th, and Andrew Packer finishing 28th. John King, again, was the admin in the race, so he didn't participate when it was all over with. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to step away and for a quick minute. If you're a driver that was in that race, part of UKNI or Canada or Central Eastern Europe or even the Benelux group, feel free to come on over and we can get you a part of an interview here before we get ready to get in our DeLorean that Joe Peak set up for us and head over towards Imola. But we'll be right back on the Global Sim Racing channel. And back at the Atlanta Motor Speedway in Hampton, Georgia, as we have just wrapped up race number 1 of 2 for Group C in the World Cup of iRacing. Christian Challoner, your winner here, part of the UK&I club that took 8 of the top 10 positions when it was all over with here in Atlanta, and they're looking pretty strong. That's why they're the 2 seed, we should say, as we'll get ready for Imola coming up in a little less than 1 hour. But we have one driver that was a part of the race. We'll bring him down here to join us. Alex Bergeron, the Canadian driver, finishing in the 4th position, led 10 laps this afternoon. Unfortunately, outran by the UK&I guys, but Bergeron, still a great fight for you. I'm sure you got to be proud to represent your country like that.
Yeah, it was a good race. I mean, that I was good on long run, but not on short run, so I did everything I could to get the most point for Canada. And I don't know if we're gonna make it to the final, but it was a great weekend.
Now, Alex, I do want to bring up the pit stop you guys had there at the last stop of the race. I noticed you got in your stall pretty deep there, and almost your left rear, it looked like smacked the wall. Did you notice any difference in the car after that?
No, actually it helped me to be faster on the pit road. I don't know, but it seems to be, so I did this every time. So,
Alex, Sean here. I got to ask you, you have any real world driving experience yet?
yeah, but it's mostly on road course, but yeah.
What are you driving?
Last year I did a couple of practice with a 1986 Corvette on a road course.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Can I get that car too?
Yeah. We need to get hooked up with him, Chris.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Now, Alex, you had Derek Bordeaux was up there with you too, representing the Canada group there. Obviously, unfortunately, he had a little bit of wall issues. The setup you guys ran, was that more of a team setup, or was it one guy for himself, it seemed like?
I was using Canada setup. I don't know if Derek was, but I used the Canada setup because I mean Canada, and I think I need to use our inside setup. So I did everything I could with that set.
And you did a great job with that setup, as we're talking with Alex Bergeron, the Canadian driver, finishing in the 4th position. Now, coming up here in a little bit, we go to Imola. Are you going to be a part of that race? I assume yes, since you're a road guy.
No, I will not have time to do that race, but yeah.
Well, talk about your guys in that race. You think Canada can bounce back here, because it's going to take a pretty big effort to get yourselves to the finals?
Yeah, sure. I hope Canada guy will get good results, and we're gonna be in the finals. Each year World Cup is something quite special for me. I take it very seriously, and I hope we're gonna make it to the finals.
Yeah, hopefully you can make it to the finals. Now, guys, I should mention that if you do want to be a part of the interview, if you were in this race, or maybe you're going to be in the race at Imola coming up, you can feel free to join us in our TeamSpeak channel here. It's where we are. We'll be glad to interview you. Sean, you got a question?
I was just going to say, if you were in any of the races earlier today, we'd love to talk to you. So I took in the scene on all of those races, and would love to talk to some of them if they want to come visit with us. We're going to have a little bit of time here between the time we get started at Imola, but we'd be happy to talk to him. Alex, that was quite a run. I got to tell you, it was a pretty sticky situation out there a couple times for the old Maple Leaf.
Yeah, I did some nice saves. Sometimes it was loose, sometimes it was tight. Trying to get the eye line, sometimes the low line, so it was quite sometimes difficult, but I think I did great, and also Derek did great also, but he crashed, but that's part of racing.
Yeah, towards the end there, I saw you split the middle on about 5 cars, come right through them, and that was a pretty bold move, but it worked out for you. Great race. We can't thank you enough for coming in and chatting with us for a few minutes.
Yeah, no problem. It's always a pleasure for me.
Absolutely. Alex Bergeron, your 4th place finisher here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Led 10 laps when it was all said and done, but fell up a little short, finishing in the 4th position. Sean, great race at Atlanta. When it was all over with, we had not many cautions at all. I know we had a caution-free race earlier, but only the 2 cautions for 6 laps. We had 13 lead changes. We had a green flag pit stop run. A pretty good fight. Yeah,
it really was. And I mean, we did see an impressive, I know they were down in numbers, but Central Eastern Europe really brought the fight. I mean, they finished better than Canada did. Their 4 drivers all in the top 16 there, and Andres Sleesons, and I'm going to get it right one last time, Sleesons. Andres finishes 20th there, so they outnumber the Canada guys just a little bit. But Denis Razumov, we talked about that run he had coming up 16 spots to show for them in the top 10. Hats off to those guys. They gave it a good shot, and you know what? Those guys are going to be strong over on the roadside. So,
yeah, they are.
When they show up at Imola, watch out. Who knows? Maybe somehow, some way, Central Eastern Europe can work themselves to the top of this thing before it's all said and done with.
It's something else that comes to my mind. I sit there and I wonder, the drivers who ran the oval here at Atlanta, who maybe don't run ovals much, especially from the Central Eastern Europe or even from the UK and I group, they probably ran into a whole new monster that they're not used to here at Atlanta with the slick track, the worn out tires. They're probably like, oh my gosh, there could be some that were like, what did I just do for 80 laps?
Yeah, but I don't know. I think maybe you might overrate that just a little bit. I've been running with the guys from across the pond for a while on the ovals, and I don't want to say sandbag, but let's just say they don't always show all their cards when you're practicing with them, or even qualifying for that matter. Sans Denis Razumov, who comes all the way up there and finishes 10th. Pretty good oval racers themselves. And this was a great race at Atlanta today, but the race at Imola, I got to be honest, I've got 2 races under my belt at Imola already today, watching those races on Max Speed TV and Race Spot. Both were great races. The first one, the battle between the Finns and the Aussies, it was pretty chippy. It was a fast race. The second race was just as ferocious, and we're in for a good one here in Group C, coming up here at you in just a little bit.
And that'll be in the Chevy Corvette car, the C6, and we'll talk about that. We'll get you a preview of that coming up here in a little bit. That race is supposed to start at around 5 o'clock or so. We'll get that race on. And again, tonight, Group D going to be in action, Sean, as we have 4 teams there. Soup and Richard Losber are going to be up here in the booth, as that's going to be a pretty good show, too.
Oh, absolutely. They've got their hands full with that coming up. That's going to be here just in a little while, and like I said, that'll kick off this evening. That's in Group D. You've got Northwest New York, Brazil, and California, and we'll always got to watch out for those mad Brazilians. You never know what they're going to bring to the party, but they always bring fun. I know. I've partied with them.
And I know some good Brazilian oval drivers. So they're definitely going to bring the show to Atlanta here this evening. Of course, that'll be at 7 o'clock this evening with that. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to step away, take a break. And again, if you're a driver who is a part of any of the 3 races, if you're a part of the last one, going to be a part of the one coming up here at 5 o'clock, or even the future races this evening from one of the other clubs, you want to come join us in our TeamSpeak channel, feel free to do so. But we're going to step away, and we'll be back here in the Global Sim Racing channel. And back we are on the Global Sim Racing channel at the Atlanta Motor Speedways. We're about to jump in the DeLorean that Joe Peak has gladly provided us, and we're going to fly right over to Imola and get ready for that race up in north central Italy here in just a little over 30 minutes. That race will get underway. Practice should be going up in about 11 minutes or so. But Chris Scala, Sean Ambrose here with you on the Global Sim Racing channel and on iRacing Live. Hopefully you enjoyed the race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're going to talk about that coming up, but first let's kind of do a little sneak peek of Imola and this historic track that as of 9 years ago is no longer on the F1 circuit, but it's still a historic track of good things and bad things that have happened there. But Sean, this is a very tricky track.
Yeah, it is, but I want to lobby F1 to seek deep within their heart and somehow get this track back on the map with them, because this is just a great place. It's a classic facility, and it's right in the metropolitan city of Bologna, and the sprawling countryside there. But more than that, the layout we're running today, you've got 15 really difficult, challenging turns, couple of really nasty chicanes to carry the car through. Let me tell you about this C6. I did several laps in it, and more than several yesterday on this track. The car is just, it's impossible to control. If you've been driving the C7 on the iRacing service, it's nothing like that. Okay, the brakes are totally different. The car has a much heavier feel to it. Doesn't perform in a chicane like that C7 does. So if you don't have any experience with it, or you're getting back in it after having a long break out of it, it's a totally different machine. Now, it was in the 24-hour Le Mans, Chris, and so advantage to those guys that did participate. A lot of these drivers here represented their countries and their individual teams at Le Mans, and so we'll see if that gives them a little bit of an edge over some of those who didn't. But again, it's going to be very challenging today. That first chicane there at Tamburello is it's a mess when you get the whole pack of cars getting down in through there at the same time. That first left-hander, very tight, very hard to navigate and get that car back off to the right and off down into Villeneuve. Another very tricky section of the track, because you're at such a high rate of speed heading down in there, and you have to get under braking and to get the car whipped back to the right, and not quite a 90, but not far from it, back to the right all the way down to Tosa, where you're really slow getting around that chicane. So it's going to be a great race. I really can't wait to get to Imola, and I'll tell you what. We even have I believe we have a little sneak peek here of what we're about to see live from the cockpit of the GSRC C6 Corvette.
Something like that.
I'm sorry. Yes, CS6. That's Photoshop.
All right, we've got Amjad Yaman in the GSRC Corvette, so let's do a lap around Imola. Across the start-finish line, you'll just straighten out the track as it weaves back and forth. Just be careful as you line up to the right, because there's a little kink in the braking zone that makes it easy to dip a wheel into the grass. Now, the Tamburello chicane has 3 apexes, but you want to hold tight on the first 2 to give yourself a wider entry into the third. Watch out for the sausage curbs as well, because they can badly upset the car. From there, hold right and spot your brake marker for Villeneuve. The first apex is much faster, which makes setting up for the second one pretty tricky. With it tightening up, it won't be uncommon to see cars go wide into the kitty litter. After that, it's a short burst to Tosa. Throttle control around this hairpin will be a very valuable skill indeed, because a good launch up the hill will be super important to keep yourself safe from attack. Anyone greedy enough to induce wheel spin is going to be losing time hand over fist. Hold right over the blind crest, and then get on the brakes from Piratella. The paved runoff to the outside will save the car, but it will cost you in lap time. Then, it's a quick run to Acqua Minerale. Just like Villeneuve, the first part of this double apexer is used to slow your car down and line it upright. The second apex is inviting to overdrive, but go too wide and you'll get a slowdown penalty. That's going to hurt especially bad with another uphill climb that leads into a heavy braking zone. The Alta chicane is extremely tight and fiddly, so I wouldn't recommend trying to stay too wide. The tall curbs are punishing, and clobbering them too hard can send you flying off track. From there, the circuit weaves once more as it comes back downhill for the final time of the lap. Hold to the right and get the car straightened out for the braking into Ravazza. Coming in here too hot is easy with the dropping elevation on entry, but the exit is the critical part of this two-part corner because it brings you back onto the main straight. The braking for Tamburello is probably your best chance for an overtake, so you don't want to slow exit out of that last turn. But as we come to the line, we've now finished a lap around Imola.
Joe Peak there narrating the lap around the former home of the San Marino Grand Prix there at Imola, and I do agree with Sean. We need to get that back on the F1 schedule. We'll run that lap guide again later, but hopefully you were watching. If you need some advice on how to get around the track, Joe basically kind of gave you a little bit of a helping there. So as we got that race coming up again in about 25 minutes or so, practice should be going up here in the next 5 minutes. But let's go back to Atlanta real quick here before we hop over to Imola, Sean. A great race, dominated in the end by UK and I, but you can't help but credit Canada for their effort. You had Derek Bordeaux up there battling when it was over with. You had Bergeron who got that 4th place finish, but UK and I was just dominant.
Yeah, they were. All you had to do was look through the top 10 to see how many were in there, and obviously they put on quite a show. It's going to be really, really hard for Canada or Central Eastern Europe to really tackle them here on the road. Anything can happen, though. I mean, Imola is a very, very tricky course, but what we saw here today was a pretty good show. Now, listen, the races at Atlanta have been a bit of a story of dominance. I mean, if you want to talk about what's already happened earlier today, I mean, the Group A results this morning, we saw Finland just really run away with it on the oval. They gathered up 767 points at Atlanta, and Scandinavia behind them with only 411 points. So, I mean, that it shows you the kind of dominance that the Finns have been historically dominant, and the team to beat, and 2-time defending champion, and all that. I got to be honest, this may not be their year. We'll see, but again, they were very, very dominant at Atlanta. They were dominant last year. And so their oval prowess certainly coming into play. Like I said, you can't underestimate those Europeans there, Chris. They do have some oval skill, and the Finns are some of the best of them. And Group A was no different this year than it was last. But Group B, another great race that we said went green to checker. The Diach Racing Club. They really threw it down on the road side, but on the oval side it was Florida with a collection of drivers that were really, really strong at Atlanta. And you'd say, well, Florida to Atlanta, a bunch of Americans there, you'd think they'd do well on the oval. Well, it was a bit of a mixed bag. They had a little bit of trouble there on track, but they were able to all come together there after the cycle of pit stops, a decent strategy, and they get several cars in the top 15 and do edge out Diach there in Group B on that oval round here at Atlanta. Iberia, they didn't field an entry for the oval side, so it was just Texas there with them. Only 3 of the clubs represented at Atlanta. Texas had a decent showing, but unfortunately the road side killed them, and that's what allowed Iberia, who didn't even make the race, to jump ahead of them and take 4th. So, a lot of interesting racing going on. I keep going back to that first race this morning, though. It started very, very early this morning, 5 a.m. Central Standard Time with Max Speed TV at Atlanta. That was a great one that, like I said, saw Finn dominance. But the memories that will last for me from Group A this morning are going to be the memories from the road race at Imola, and certainly you can go on Max Speed TV's YouTube channel and see the replay of that race. I've said it a couple times. It was awful chippy between the Finns and the Australians. A rivalry that we will need to remember, because we will see again next year, I'm sure. The Aussies are going to be hard at work to find a way to maybe issue a little payback to the Finns when they get there. We'll see. There were all kinds of things being talked about in the chat, Chris, about different strategies, maybe about cars. impeding other cars. You name it. Just get an idea in your head of what might have occurred.
Oh, I'm picturing it. It's safe to say that the Finns will not be getting a bloomin' onion from the Aussies for Christmas. Good way to put it.
Probably not. Probably not.
But that's just part of it. That's just what you've missed so far. If you've just joined us, 5 really good races so far. We still got 3 more to go. We got the race coming up here in a little more than 20 minutes. We'll have the Imola race in the Corvette C6R. That is on the way. And I was just looking at the times of everybody, where we are right now, because we're currently, where I'm at, it's 4:38. I know it's 3:38 where you are, Sean, Central Time, Eastern Time here for us. And I'm looking at some of the start times for this race coming up here, the road race. You're going to have in London, which UK and I, 9 o'clock their time. You're going to have Amsterdam is going to be at 10 o'clock at their time. Toronto, it's going to be 5 p.m. And then, of course, Moscow, 12 a.m. for the those that are a part of that Central Eastern Europe area, and of course the Benelux, 12 a.m. in Moscow. So that's basically going to be the time there. And then tonight, when Group D takes the track, of course you have Northwest New York, Brazil, and California. You're going to have 6 p.m. in Seattle, 6 p.m. in Los Angeles, 9 p.m. in New York, and 11 p.m. down in Rio de Janeiro. So times are playing a factor too in some of these races.
And Rio de Janeiro, definitely a place you'd like to be at 11 o'clock in the evening. Sounds like a good time. And the Brazilians certainly like to race in the wee hours of the morning. It seems like every time I get on myself personally in the very, very late hours or the wee hours of the morning, I see a lot of Brazilian drivers and Australian drivers. So I don't know that the time is going to hurt them so much, but yeah, this is a World Cup event, so all time zones affected, all hands on deck, Chris.
And you get most of these teams. You heard Bergeron, we talked to him a little bit ago as he finished 4th at Atlanta. He talked about, the Canadian team had setups shared with each other. And that's what you see in these kind of things. I mean, there's a reason why if you go into the forums, whatever club you're a part of, there's a chat right there for your members of the club. And that's where you're able to go in there. You can share setups with each other and that kind of thing. And if you get an organized club, they'll work together. Where you get a lot of clubs out there that unfortunately don't work well together. Is, by the way, I should spoil it and say the race is up for all the drivers who want to get in there. You get the teams that share. And unfortunately, we got plenty of clubs out there that could be a part of this that don't really work together. And all it takes is one guy to get a group together and say, hey, you know what, guys, let's go for it next year.
Yeah, well, I said it earlier. I mean, when we talked about the practice sessions this week, the past couple of weeks, a lot of private practice sessions, some that were open and some where guests were maybe made to feel maybe like they weren't wanted or suspected of stealing data or grabbing setups. It was... I just happened to catch a conversation. I was in spectating a practice session, and the names can remain anonymous, but I was in late last night in a practice session, and let's just say somebody came back into the session that had been there earlier, and they all questioned why he returned, and he said something about he was just checking his telemetry, and everybody got all hot and bothered. Guys taking this serious, man. I mean, this is good stuff. This is the type of entertainment that you sign up for here when you get on the iRacing service. I'm just having a blast today. I'll be the first one to admit it. I am in the Central Standard Time Zone, and I was up at about 4:55 a.m. this morning getting ready to tune in to Rudy's broadcast there over on Max Speed TV.
And would we expect anything else than Sean Ambrose being up at 5 in the morning for a race? Why not? That's what a dedicated race guy like Sean Ambrose is. So the session is up, so you got about 18 minutes or so before we go racing at Imola, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to step away and we'll come back and we'll get you ready for the Imola race, and we'll get some Corvette action going on the legendary track in just a couple minutes on the Global Sim Racing channel.
Autodroma Enzo Idino Ferrari. We are here at Imola. Welcome on iRacing Live and the Global Sim Racing Channel. We have made it all the way across the big pond here to Italy. Joining you now for the World Cup Round 2 in Group C. And we have got a quick interview for you. The team captain for UK and Ireland, Matt Dalton. We've brought him in. Matt, pretty good day so far for the old UK and Ireland. You guys are off to a good start here.
Yeah, pretty solid finish in the oval, so we can't complain too much. Still got a job to do in the road, so we're not counting anything too much yet, but...
Well, it is just a little practice in the lead-up here, but so far I've got 5 of your drivers sitting in the top 5 of practice. Central Eastern Europe, a bit of a wild card. You a little worried about those guys today?
No, not really. I think you've just got to take care of... You've just got to look after your own side of things, and the rest will play out for itself, so... We haven't looked at anybody else and worried about anybody else in any way, shape or form. The guys are all pretty locked away in their own little TeamSpeak channel, so they're all having a good chat about what's going on, so they don't need me telling them anything new, and they know what they're doing, so...
All right, well, listen, I've done a little bit of team captain and crew chief work myself, in fact, at Le Mans last weekend, so I want to get in your head just a little bit. First, I want to know how much work have you guys put in as a team?
A lot is the answer to that. We've probably spent the last 3 weeks nagging, chasing, dragging people into channels to talk to try and get them to race, putting practice sessions up, getting laps turned. We haven't done too much for next week for Indy and Spa, purely because we don't want to tempt fate and end up risking the wrath of the racing gods and ending ourselves knocked out, but we've put a lot of work in terms of chasing after people and things like that. It's been pretty exhausting at times, to be honest, so it's not an easy thing to get a club to pull together suddenly for one event when they've been racing as independent teams all year, and get them to share setups and things like that as well. It's difficult, but it pays off.
So a lot of information being shared, a lot of ideas, a lot of different theories about racing. It sounds like a pretty good, tight group of guys.
Yeah, we've got a good group. We're missing a few. We've had a few drop out this week that couldn't make it, unfortunately, due to other commitments. We've had a few that have come in last minute. And in particular, I'd like to sort of say thanks to Simon Maltby and Will Tregurtha, who sort of jumped in pretty last minute, although Will jumps in last minute and then promptly turns into one of the fastest guys we've got in the team. So, yeah, that's always good to have as well. But yeah, it's just one of those things that we're a good group. The oval side is really tight, but most of us are all on the same team anyway. The road guys are all pulling together really well as well, so we're in a good position for this time, and hopefully we're in a good position for next week as well, should all things line up and we get through.
All right, so I got a 2-part question here for you. You got 50 minutes to get this race done. Know you're going to need at least one pit stop here. Tell me real quickly, what's the biggest challenge of the C6?
For me, it's getting it round a lap, because I tend to drive oval more than anything else, so I literally have no idea on the road. But it is a car that it's a lot of horsepower, a lot of weight. The brakes, you don't have ABS like you do in GT3s to bail you out, so if you get into trouble and you overshoot, you're pretty much done. And it can get a bit hairy coming out of the corners as well. As I say, it's a lot of horsepower, so there's a lot of weight transfer in the corners and things, so it's an interesting car to drive. It's good though. I actually quite like it. I've never really driven it much before this week, so...
Yeah, you talk about the weight of the car, the downhill trip down into Ravazza. It's certainly hard to get that car slowed down for that first left-hander, isn't it?
Yeah, the downhills especially are quite tricky. You need a lot of rearward brake bias to try and make sure you don't lock the fronts going into there. But again, I don't need to be telling the likes of Will Tregurtha's a real-life GT racer, races British GT and GT4 and all sorts of other things over here. I don't need to be telling him, or Richard Avery, who's WCS F1 driver, anything about racing cars. They know how to get a road car around a road circuit far better than I can do. So I tend to sit back and let those guys do it. I just do all the running around, making sure we can try and get them to turn out, and the rest they take care of on their own. So yeah, it's one of those things. It should look after itself.
Well, okay. All right. So here's the second part of my question. So you've all been doing this work now. You put in a lot of work here. Is there one spot on the track that, like, universally the whole team the whole team agrees on that they just don't like?
Acqua Minerale.
That's a favorite of one of our directors, Mr. Amjad Yana.
But it's a love-hate thing. It's everybody's like, I hate Acqua Minerale because it's this really niggly chicane in what is a really fast-flowing track. But they also kind of love it because you get to really take a massive handful of curb through it, especially in the C6. The thing is, actually, for a big, heavy car, it's really compliant over the curbs. So you really get to attack it, and I think they kind of like that. But, they also hate it because if you get it wrong or you get on the throttle too early, it drops on you.
Well, listen, you guys have put on quite a show for us here at Atlanta. And tell us a little bit about the strategy at Atlanta. I mean, was it to just really take care of the car, or were you guys looking to just stay out front and just dominate the field?
A little bit of both. We had a bit of pace in hand that we didn't show, so it was very much just a case of hold your positions, don't do anything crazy, get around and finish. And we could see, anytime you've got somebody like Derek Bordeaux who jumps into a race, he's going to be quick. And I said to the guys in TeamSpeak before, don't bother trying to race him. There's no point. If we can lock out P2 to P9 or P10 or 11, whatever, that'll do quite nicely. So we had a bit of pace in hand. Everybody was sort of looking after this stuff. But at the same time, everybody watches the Finns in the morning and says, oh, Finland are really good, Finland are brilliant. We're not here to finish second. So we were there to put a message out at the same time. We're coming next week, and we're not there to finish second.
Wow, you really stole my thunder right there, because I was about to ask you if you'd paid attention to the race at Imola and the battle between them and the Aussies this morning. What'd you think about that?
We had a good look at it. It's a real shame. Australia is such a strong club and such a big club. And it's really a shame to see them not being able to get a full team out, because if they could, with the guys, with the likes of Madison Down and Jason Martin, they've got good oval drivers, good road drivers. It's like you sit there as a club captain watching it thinking, can you not get some teams out? Can you not get a full team? But we had a good look at the pace. We had a good look at everything. I think Finland, again, have probably got a little bit in hand. I don't think they showed everything they've got to do. They probably got some guys going on the road. So, it's all good fun. And yeah, it's a bit of banter. It'll be good fun next week.
Yeah, it should be. And what about the boys there from DEH? What do you think they have for the field? You think they have anything for the contenders?
Oh, absolutely. Again, DH are a massive club. They're a really strong club, and if they get their best guys out, we know full well that next week is going to be a challenge. It's easy to sit there and say we're not there to finish second, but you got to pay respect as well. They are fast. Finland are fast every single year. They will have their best guys out. They will be extremely fast. DH will be there. They'll have their best guys out. They will be extremely fast. But you can't sit worrying about everybody else. You can't sit thinking to yourself, those guys are too quick, we're not going to turn up. If you do that, there's no point even coming out. We will put out the best possible team we can. We've got a few more to come in. If all things go well, we will have the best possible team we can put out, and a much stronger team than we had last year. And last year, we still feel a little aggrieved that we didn't get the job done. We should have. And it's rankled within the club quite a lot all year long. So,
well, I just love this World Cup tournament. I think it's great for iRacing and the community, and the job that Mike Willett and his team does to put this thing together. What did you think about the track selection this year for the finals?
Spa's a good track. Indy in a NASCAR. It's a good track to drive. It's a very good track to drive. whether it's a good track to race on, I'm not quite so convinced in a NASCAR, but I love it in the IndyCar. I mean, Daytona 500 is one of my favourite events, but it is what it is. But it helps because, you know, we've got good guys. We've got a lot of our guys that are quite quick on road, can come in and strengthen the oval a little bit as well. So, yeah, all good.
Yeah, and next week gonna be fun. This week has been a lot of fun. Looking forward to getting this race kicked off here in just a little bit. Any real strategy for qualifying, or just go as hard as you can and get as many of those guys up there on top?
The guys are just going to do their own thing. There's no strategy from me, so I think they're just going to go as hard as they can, and you know, everything else will look after itself. So, as I said, they know what they're doing. I don't get involved too much with the roadside. I just sort of look at the guys that are there and try and pick the best team we can. But they'll do their own thing, and I'm sure they'll go out hard.
So, did any of the guys from the team have a go at Le Mans last weekend?
We had loads within the club. I think we struggled last week to get anybody out to actually drive for us in the qualifiers because so many people were doing Le Mans. I've no idea how they all got on. Yeah, no clue. To be honest with you, I'm so busy with NASCAR Road to Pro and other stuff that we've got some guys in that the rest sort of, I just sit and say Le Mans and I'm like, yeah, that's interesting. Turn right and left. Yeah, very good. Crack on, boys. Not really interested. So I think I was watching the Sprint Cup race on Sunday rather than Le Mans, to be honest.
Okay. Well, we know Challoner. You talk about the Road to Pro. Tell us a little bit about that real quick. I mean, we've got a moment. We know Challoner's one of those guys, isn't he?
He's not with my team. Christian's with them, with One Up and those guys now for that. We've got probably Alex Bergeron and a couple of other guys from Apex Racing UK that are going to be in there. Christian from within the club, you know, I know Christian really well. He's a really good guy. I think he's got a really, really strong chance. He's in with a very experienced team. You know, they'll have good setups. They know what they're doing. He's going to be one to watch out for definite. Alex from our team, yeah, I think he's got a good chance as well. If we can put the car underneath him every week, he could be there or thereabouts, and I don't think a lot of people are aware of how quick he can be, so I might catch a few people napping, I think.
Yeah, well, he caught us napping in Atlanta. Alex, that kid had the tongue hanging out on that beast, and I got to tell you, he was impressive. He's not afraid to put that car in the middle.
No, he's a young guy, and the young guys that we race with regularly, they're all kind of the same, you know. They have no fear of doing anything. They will, if they think they've got even a half gap, they'll stick a nose in and force you to stay up high, or they'll try and get on the backside coming off the corner, see if they can get you aero loose or something like that. And then he doesn't know any other way than attack. We're trying to calm him down a little bit at times, but he's a good kid, you know. He will go well, I think.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, my beard gets a little more white every day there, Matt. Watching, it's all about the youth movement, isn't it?
Yeah. I know the feeling well, mate. I've got enough grey in the beard at the minute, and I can do a pretty good Badger impression.
All right, well, Matt. So where are you at? Which part of the UK are you in?
South Wales, mate. Not far from Cardiff.
All right, and who's your club? Gotta know. Gotta ask.
Oh, UK Night.
No. I'm sorry. I meant your football club, sir. Your allegiance. State your allegiance.
I don't touch football. No, wait. I'll tell you what. Actually, I'll answer that. My football club is the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, that's a bit of a surprise answer there from Matt Dalton from the UK and Ireland. All right. Well, I'm a West Ham guy. I'm gonna state my allegiance. So there you go. Anyway, but Matt, thanks again for coming in and joining us, buddy. It was really a pleasure to talk to you. Good to get to know you a little bit. And hey, we'll see you out here on the iRacing service, man.
Yeah, definitely, man. And thanks for having us on, and thanks for the great job on the broadcast earlier, and getting involved with this is much appreciated by everybody.
Yeah, we have a blast doing it, and again, it was great to talk to you. Wish the best to your drivers, and hopefully we get a chance to talk to them here before the broadcast is over.
I'll send them your way under threat of death.
Yeah, all right, Matt. Sounds good.
And I'm only half kidding in case any of them are listening as well. So.
All right. Well, pay attention, guys. The boss is talking. All right, Matt. Thanks a lot. And that was Matt Dalton. from the UK and Ireland team. Great guy. So glad we got a chance to talk to him. He picked us up here and really gave us a good perspective getting ready for this thing. But I'll tell you what, man, the prep, I know all about it. We talked about Le Mans there for just a moment, and there was a lot of prep involved for that. We had an email chain a mile long that went on for about a month. It's still going, in fact, a week after. So I understand the preparation. I think Chris is back with us. He was fighting some gremlins. Chris, you got me? And maybe not. Okay, well, you know what? Qualifying is getting ready to wrap up here in just a little bit. You know what? We took you around a lap here. You've been watching them go around for a few minutes. Again, you know, this used to be the home of the San Marino Grand Prix until 2007. Let's look at the race detail stuff. We've got just a moment here. We'll pull those up for you and go over those real quick here and take a look at what we got going on. This is the Corvette C6, not to be confused with the C7. Setups open, and we know they've been working on them. We've talked about it quite enough today. 61% of fuel. Now your pit window is going to be somewhere between like 17 and 21. 21 is really risky. I don't think you can get there. You're going to have to do some special things to get to 21, but we'll see. Qualifying, best of 4 laps. We're doing that right now. We're in that qualifying session now. Okay, it is a 50-minute race, late afternoon conditions here. No fast repairs. I will tell you, the C6 does not take damage too well. You don't want to bend this car up. If you do, it might be the end of your race today. Don't have to worry about any incidents. We'll only have a local area yellow if we get into a little bit of trouble. The weather today, 80 degrees and clear skies. So we can go to the track. All right, so Chris is here. He's joined us. He's back with us. Chris, you missed a great interview there with the team captain from the UK and Ireland, and a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about, is having fun here in the World Cup of iRacing. And again, I apologize for my technical difficulties out there, but here I am, and we're ready to go at Imola as we talked about the DeLorean that Joe Peak brought us in. Unfortunately, the third guy had to have a little trouble getting over here, and I did make it here. But we're ready to go for some great racing coming up in just a couple minutes. You mentioned qualifying going on. It's part 2 of this race at the Autodromo Enzo E. Dino Ferrari. Nailed it. And that's what we're all about here, is getting ready to do some racing around the track that was formerly home of the formerly host of the San Marino Grand Prix back in Formula 1 about 9 or 10 years ago. Now, you mentioned the race details. We talked about that. Let's talk about this track map. Look at it. 3.05 mile track, a little under 5 kilometers. This track is one of 6 around the whole entire world that run counterclockwise.
Think about that for a second.
And 2 of them are here, by the way. Circuit of the Americas is one. And of course, I just went brain dead on the other one, but it's all good. But San Marino, one of those tracks, though, and what I mean by counterclockwise is when you look, you look at a clock and you go down to obviously 1, 2, 3. This one, you're actually going backwards, so it's 12, 11, 10. When you look at a clock, you see you make turn 1, 2, and 3, you head towards the left, and then you got the S's, of course, working your way up towards Villeneuve there in turn 5. But again, we got a great race in front of us, Sean, and I think for those who missed it, should we show them the lap guide?
Yeah, you know what? There are probably a lot of people just tuning in to iRacing Live and the Global Sim Racing channel just to catch this Imola race. Let's do it. Let's hop back inside the C6, take a ride around, and show you what it's all about here.
Alright, we've got Amjad Yaman in the GSRC Corvette, so let's do a lap around Imola. Across the start-finish line, you'll just straighten out the track as it weaves back and forth. Just be careful as you line up to the right, because there's a little kink in the braking zone that makes it easy to dip a wheel into the grass. Now, the Tamburello chicane has 3 apexes, but you'll want to hold tight on the first 2 to give yourself a wider entry into the third. Watch out for the sausage curbs as well, because they can badly upset the car. From there, hold right and spot your brake marker for Villeneuve. The first apex is much faster, which makes setting up for the second one pretty tricky. With it tightening up, it won't be uncommon to see cars go wide into the kitty litter. After that, it's a short burst to Tosa. Throttle control around this hairpin will be a very valuable skill indeed, because a good launch up the hill will be super important to keep yourself safe from attack. Anyone greedy enough to induce wheel spin is going to be losing time hand over fist. Hold right over the blind crest, and then get on the brakes for Piratella. The paved runoff to the outside will save the car, but it will cost you in lap time. Then it's a quick run to Aqua Minerale. Just like Villeneuve, the first part of this double apexer is used to slow your car down and line it up right. The second apex is inviting to overdrive, but go too wide and you'll get a slowdown penalty. That's going to hurt especially bad with another uphill climb that leads into a heavy braking zone. The Alta chicane is extremely tight and fiddly, so I wouldn't recommend trying to stay too wide. The tall curbs are punishing, and clobbering them too hard can send you flying off track. From there, the circuit weaves once more as it comes back downhill for the final time of the lap. Hold to the right and get the car straightened out for the braking into Ravazza. Coming in here too hot is easy with the dropping elevation on entry, but the exit is the critical part of this two-part corner because it brings you back onto the main straight. The braking for Tamburello is probably your best chance for an overtake, so you don't want a slow exit out of that last turn. But as we come to the line, we've now finished a lap around Imola.
All right, and that is a trip around Imola. 3 minutes to go here in qualifying, and right now, top of the board, well, it's Will Tregurtha sitting there for the UK and Ireland. Got a 137.4. And Jamie Fluke, another UK and Ireland driver, right hot on his tail with a 137.5. So there you see the difference. Now they're all running that same paint scheme they were running in the oval race, the black and red UK and Ireland scheme. They're looking pretty good. As Jamie's coming into the pit, looks like he's taking his laps and is happy with that. Yeah, I'm showing that's his 4 laps. Looks like just about everybody in the field have got those in, and right now I'm showing the UK and Ireland sitting in the top 6, Chris. First Central Eastern Europe driver in 7th.
It just shows you again the strength that these guys have with Tregurtha and Fluke and Avery and Reed, and there's Christian Challoner, the winner from Atlanta, right there, P5 on the board. So the UK and I is definitely they're not only challenging this field, but they're almost telling all the other teams, hey, you guys are going to have to bring your A game to beat us.
Yeah, and it looks like Challoner moves up the board to 5th on his very last lap there, and that pretty good effort by him. The Blackadder Motorsports C6 there, representing the UK and Ireland today. Challoner going to be one to watch. He's got some pretty tough competition in front of him. As I look at these iRatings, Chris, which we'll just tell those unfamiliar with the iRating service that may be watching today for the first time, that iRating system, that really, that's a bit of a system that kind of gives you an idea what kind of skins you have on the wall. And just in comparison, Challoner, one of those 6,000 guys, and the guys that he's chasing in front of him in qualifying, let's just say they're all really close. They're about the same, so not too far off. A lot of guys here, as we talked about in our interview there with Matt, working on their road to pro right now. They become a pro driver on the iRacing service, and really, when you talk about, especially like where I'm at, A-class driver with very, very low iRating, that's really kind of that's the big cup that you covet. That's where you want to get to at some point.
Oh, it is, and everybody wants to be a pro. I mean, even I could be honest, say I want to get to a pro level if I could on the oval side of things, but that's what we want to do. That's what we all strive to get into iRacing for. Yeah, we're here to have fun with our friends and our clubs or whatever, but if we could have the talent to get up to being a pro, I mean, what more could we ask for? And that's what Challoner's working for, and you definitely see all the talent he has on the oval side, as you saw that at Atlanta. Now you see in the road side of things, as he is P5, some 7/10, it looks like, off of Tregurtha, but that's going to wrap up qualifying here, and we're going to get to our starting lineup for this road side of things here at Imola. Will Tregurtha will start on the pole alongside Jamie Fluke.
All right, and in row 2, that's going to be Richard Avery and Rob Reed.
Christian Challoner, the winner from Atlanta, will start 5th alongside Alex Millward.
All right, and then we're going to have Marion Braybeck 7th, and Fraser Williamson 8th.
Row number 5, Dave Hill alongside Luke Ridgway.
All right, then we're going to go back to Alex Bergeron starting 11th, and Miroslav Sabota 12th.
Row number 7, Claude Bevel and Jason Perry there on the outside of row 7.
Jason Harris and Robert Jackman, row 8.
Scott Velez, Simon Maltby inside of row number 9, 17th and 18th.
All right, then we're going to have Daniel Petko and Alexander Slurzik in 20th.
And taking a look at the rest of this field, 27 cars going to grid. Andrus Sleazen's going to start there in 21st alongside Andrew Packer.
All right, Randy Huff and Tom Katowski, row 12.
Now, John King, he is the admin in this race, so he's not actually in this race. You'll have Merrick Ondrak, Robert Laronde, and Dennis Razma coming off that top 10 at Atlanta there for the Central Eastern Europe group. As Sean, let's talk about the race details again here. We're going to do 50 minutes, 61% fuel, which is going to guarantee at least one stop. Now, Imola is one of those tracks with being 3 mile. We're later in the evening time or afternoon time here. How long does that mean on a tank of fuel, or does it come down to strategy, or what are we looking at here?
You know, I really think it's a bit of strategy, but your window is somewhere around 17 to 20 laps. You can get 21, but as I said in the pre-race, I think you're going to have to do some pretty tricky things to make 21. And certainly what we've seen earlier today in the couple of races at Imola before this one, everybody was getting to about 17 and bringing it in. So we'll see how things develop here. Now, this is a rolling start. This is not a standing start. We're starting on the back section of the course here, just out of Variante Alta and heading down into Ravazza. And that pace car will pull off into the pit lane just out of Ravazza, the final left-hander there, and then they will cut them loose and a long straightaway to get down to that first chicane. A lot of speed going to be carried down there, Chris.
Yeah, you're not going to see Variante Bassa, which is 16 and 17 on the chicane area, and be used. They're going straightaways here as the pace car is going to pull off. And the UK&I team got the front 7 spots. It's round 2 of Group C here at Imola. Let's do some Corvette racing. Waiting for the green to come out. Got that long straightaway here. And there it is, green flag. We're racing in Imola, 50 minutes. Already stretched now, 2, 3 wide. Everybody trying to dig down to turn 1. All the way to Tragunda. Make that Trigardo. I'm getting the turns down. That's the one thing I'm going to learn here. I'm going to get the corners down here by the end of this race. But all the way down to Villeneuve now.
Tamburello, okay.
By the end of this broadcast, you'll be able to see who's the road guy and who's not.
Ooh, almost contact there in Villeneuve. Looked like it was between Jackman and Harrison.
Everybody getting out unscathed so far as they work their way down towards Minarelli.
Wow, what a good start to this race so far. Everybody's starting to kind of step off in the line just a bit.
It is Tragutha. He's got himself a pretty good sized lead already on Richard Avery. You got Jamie Fluktak to 3rd, Rob Reed there at 4th. They work their way through Variante Alta down towards Ravazza, which this is a very tough left-handed corner. It's a double apex downhill.
Yeah, you're carrying so much speed down that hill. You got to get on the binders, get that car turned left. Got a lot of runoff there to the right, but you won't want to get too far off. You get in that grass and that sand, you're in trouble.
There you go, wow, a very fast lap. Yeah, very good start, very fast lap around Imola as Tragutha leads lap number 1. Again, a 50-minute race, 61% fuel in a battle here for the 7th position. Marion Raybeck, Fraser Williamson all the way down to turn 1 side by side.
Oh, Williamson going to have to back off here a little bit. Yeah. You don't want to be on the inside there trying to get into the Trimbolo there.
Yeah, you want to be able to get the speed you can. There's not many passing zones here. Villeneuve, you could probably say, is not really one. Tosa could be one if you can get through the Villeneuve section.
I said Trambello. I said I wouldn't do that.
You just pulled a me.
Yeah, no, I know it's Tamburello. I have a problem with my R's.
It happens.
I put him in the wrong place. I put him in the wrong place. Bergeron in a paddle.
Yeah, Alex coming off that 4th place finish. He said he wasn't going to be in this race. He played mind games with us.
Something changed, yeah. He is right there, just trying to take down Luke Ridgway right now. Ridgway almost in the way. Bergeron getting in hot.
Bergeron, oh, he's going to make a dive move here. Wow, nice. You're right. They work their way down towards Varianta Alta. Get it backwards here a little bit. Smart move on his part. You can use that turf there. You cannot get 4 off onto the concrete there, but the turf you can use and you'll be okay.
Boy, and you know, one of the things about the trip down into Ravazza, you're coming downhill, you'll see a lot of guys just get in way too hot. Thankful to have all that runoff, but the time you lose is just incredible down there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You don't want the time.
Oh,
it's all about rhythm.
Williamson making the move.
Yeah, looking good move.
Yeah, but he gets out of it. Let's Braybeck in way too hot.
And Braybeck able to finish the pass.
Pressure.
To get through Tamburello, heading down towards Villeneuve, and they're still side by side here. Williamson back by.
Frazier's not playing around.
Yeah, you got Ridgway here, and you got Bergeron looking for a move. Look at his dogfight.
Oh boy!
Contact. Ridgway spins.
Round. And so's Luke Ridgway.
And Braybeck's going to get the worst of this along with...
Oh, stay where you're at.
Hey, you don't want to do that move. Ridgway and Braybeck going to fall back. You're going to see the move here. Looks like right there, that's where they're going through Trigardo and into Tamburello, and bam, there's the contact. I take that back. That was Villeneuve and Tosta. Let me get this cornered right.
Little aggressive, to be honest. Just,
yeah, a little early for a bomb like that.
Yeah, early days, man. Early days. You gotta take a little bit better care of it than that.
And who that paid off for? Alex Bergeron going to move up to the 8th position now. You're going to move Williamson up to 7th. Richard Avery there in the 2nd position. You got Fluke there in 3rd. Rob Reed, and you got Christian Challoner, the guy who won the Atlanta race there, running in the 5th position. You know he's feeling pretty good after that.
Yeah, he's got Rob Reed just up in front of him. Nobody getting away in this thing yet except our leader, who's, let's face it, just dealing with the track right now in front of him. But Will Tregurtha really laying it down here early, opening up 2 seconds on his rival there, Richard Avery, his team rival, if you will.
And the UK and I being well represented here. You saw in chat a little bit. There's Dennis Razumov has already taken his car behind the wall. Unfortunately, he's going to finish last in this race. But you saw a little bit in chat, people like, "Hey, UK and I driver messed up. Woohoo!" That's pretty much what it's going to take. It looks like for Canada to really have a chance here in this race, or the Central Eastern Europe group, or any of those guys. They need UK and I to kind of not have a good race here.
Yeah, well, Will definitely. Certainly, one of these great drivers on the iRacing service. I love that number he's running, by the way, a personal favorite of my own. Oh, Dennis, you know what I just picked up? Dennis Razumov going off the track. Hitting hard. Ooh, the number 27 really having trouble. In fact, that led to his disconnection. He's done.
Oh, poor tough break for Dennis Razumov. He was one of the good drivers from the Central Eastern Europe group. He's going to take it behind the wall. Now, I should mention also here, no one from the 4th team is here, unfortunately. The team that slipped my head all of a sudden here. As you're going to look at Razumov's accident here, the Central Eastern Europe driver. Trying to see what section that is. Heading to Alta, it looks like. Oh, he just drives it too hot and bam, lands in a tire barrier.
Yeah, hops up over the curb there. Once that car hopped up into the air, it really had no chance. He had no way to slow it down. And by the way, Chris, help you out there a little bit. It's Benelux.
Benelux.
I'm really, really surprised that Benelux
They're not here.
Didn't make it back. Yeah, that's kind of strange. I really thought those guys had something.
Yeah, I mean, they showed they did a great job in that race for the 2 or 3 guys that they had in the field. And unfortunately, I think after Atlanta, they realized, we're not going to have a shot at this, guys. Let's just not show up, or they didn't have this planned out to where they were just going to do the oval race.
Well, you wonder how hard do you press at this point if you're any of these UK and Ireland drivers sitting up here at the front. I mean, honestly, you don't have to press too hard. It really is about the team victory. And right now, those boys are sitting pretty solid. All they really need to do is keep Bergeron, Dave Hill behind them, the rest of the field behind them at this point. They've got this locked up with a top 6.
Pretty much.
Top seven, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's been domination so far from this UK&I group. I want to take you back to the 12th position here. A couple of Canadian drivers. Robert Jackman here in the 12th spot. He actually just got by Claude Bevel. Claude in the now will be in the 12th position. We got Jason Perry here. It's a pretty good little tight battle here. Jason Harrison, Scott Velez, Petco. These guys all within a second of each other. Good little tight fight here. One guy locking it up into the corner. Looked like it was Bevel as they work their way through Trigardo and Tamburello.
Doing better. Good job.
Getting there. Through the Villeneuve session up to Tosa, the turn 7 and 8 section of the track. I mean, Sean, you've driven these vets. I haven't got a chance to drive this vet yet. I was going to for a team in Le Mans, but unfortunately I had work getting away and I had to step away from it. But these vets, rear-wheel drive, are very tough.
Yeah, they are. Matt alluded to it in my interview with him. It's a very heavy car. It doesn't have any anti-lock brakes on it like the GT3 does. Downhill, getting this car under braking is very, very tricky. You've got to be very stingy with your brake bias. You will lock up the front brakes. You will wheel hop it a bit. I certainly experienced that. That probably has everything to do with my style of driving. Maybe some of these pros out here don't have as much trouble as I did with it, but it's a very tricky car. The chicanes, it's miserable in the chicanes. It's tough to get back, go from one side back to the other with this car. It just doesn't roll real well, Chris.
Just saw one car off the track there on the screen. Didn't see the name of that driver, but it was Bergeron who went off the track. So unfortunately, Alex having a little bit of trouble. I've been watching this battle back here for 15th with Daniel Petco and Scott Velez. Petco is going to try to make a dive here into turn 2 and 3, but unable to do so. Petco was actually side by side heading up to Alta there, 11 and 12. When he was able to back out of it and not make the move here, but it's a good fight here for the 15th position.
Yeah, Bergeron really, really lost a lot on that. He has slipped back to 16th, and now is going to try and take a position away from Simon Maltby just up in front of him.
And Bergeron just got to get back into a rhythm. We make mistakes. That's what it comes down to. There are plenty of mistakes made on the road races. Got to keep yourself consistent. And I always say my rule of thumb, because I'm not a road racer, just keep it on the track. Keep it on the asphalt. It might be slow, but it'll stay there.
Wow. Bergeron side by side with Maltby down into Villeneuve. Let's look at this battle on screen between Challoner and Reed. Challoner, we say battle. Again, this is a team competition, but I'll make the point that Rudy Cummings made earlier this morning on Max Speed TV. Who wants to lose, right?
No one does. Exactly. And not to mention, if you won the race in Atlanta, why would you want to sweep the 2 races? If you're Challoner, you want to get up there as Rob Reed overshoots it almost. He's driving that car pretty hard at 42. As you ride on board with Challoner,
yeah,
you're heading down towards Villeneuve.
You really don't want to wrap that curb too hard, because it will send the car around. It won't be good.
Well, not
especially
to mention
when you've got traffic close behind.
You look at some of those chicanes on the track, you see those little, yeah, you got the little turf, but you see those little bumps that they have inside the curbs there. Those things you don't want to hit. They'll mess your car up. I'm sure there's a proper term for those, but I'm calling them bumps. Sausage curves, I guess. There we go. That works. Thanks, Joe.
Quite a battle coming across the start-finish line. Back here in 15th, Daniel Petco, Scott Velez, and Jason Perry all down to the first chicane. All three get through clean.
Yeah, Velez is going to make a move to the inside here into Tosa. Going to make the move and take 14th away.
Oh,
And that's going to leave the door open. Here comes Petco. He's going to drive into the grass.
oh boy. Watch out.
That was actually Caratello where that pass was made, actually. I'm getting these corners down slowly.
Well, and look who's in that mix now. It's Bergeron up there battling with them now. Bergeron getting through the chicane. It was awful tricky.
Probably driving with a little anger. Somebody's slow here. The 27 off the pace of Tom Katowski. He's a lap down, looks like.
Katowski a lap down. Not sure what happened to him.
Oh, don't drive it in there like that. It's going to spell Bergeron's around, too, over in that same corner.
Yeah, Bergeron gets
Rayback has gone around. Bergeron's around.
Bergeron has to take toe in the pit.
That's going to be big.
Let's go
ride with
Bergeron.
Oh, he hit that curve. It's right there behind the 97 of Jason Perry. And Rayback takes his car behind the wall also. I couldn't tell if there was contact. I know he got the curve, but losing, you see Brayback around there.
Well, it was a battle. It's not one anymore, is it, Chris?
No, it's definitely sorted itself out.
That gets Canada and Central Eastern Europe solid in the top 10 right now.
Yeah, Robert Jackman there in the 10th position. You got Miroslav Savoda up there in the 9th position. Dave Hill there in 8th. You got Fraser Williamson in 7th, and Alex Millwood up here in the 6th position doing a great job. And then, of course, you got these three cars, 3rd through 5th. You can't really say they're battling because they're teammates, but as you said earlier, yeah, you know, there's a little bit of animosity. They want to fight each other for a position, but you got Rob Reed here in the 4th position, Fluke into 3rd, and Challenger in 5th, as Challenger is going to try to use the draft here a little bit.
Listen, I'm looking at this timing and scoring right now, and I'm seeing a lot of drivers from Canada back here that are hoping for a little trouble for all 7 of these UK and Ireland drivers just ahead of them. The numbers, that's what they need. They need the numbers. They need more trouble in front of them to get a chance here to get out of this bracket. It's going to be a real long shot with now under 35 minutes to go. But it's road racing, man, and it's Imola. Anything could happen.
Not to mention, Richard Avery was 0.4 faster than Tregurtha on that last lap. Avery's actually only about 1.1 seconds back here. We could have a battle for the lead shaping up. And the question I'm asking you now, Sean, is we're 16 minutes into this race. When do you make that first pit stop? When do you make that pit stop to get you to the distance? You know, we're 10 laps in right now.
Yeah, we're 10 laps in. We got now we're crawling down to 34 minutes left. And I think sometime in about 5 or 6 laps, you could really start thinking about it seriously and making it to the end without any real issue. But maybe even a little bit sooner than that. I don't think the tires have been as much of an issue here early, though. We haven't seen as many fights as I thought we'd see here early, so we've seen a lot of guys playing it pretty patient. So I think maybe you try and stretch it and then make the mad dash here the way this race is playing out right now.
Well, let me counter you with this. Would you go to halfway, the 25-minute mark, and get pits? Because then I'm thinking to myself, you got to fuel these cars up, and these cars don't fuel quickly. The less amount of fuel you have to take, the better.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm on the side of right now, is that you maybe do stretch this run out and take a little bit less fuel to get yourself to the finish.
And that's what it's all about. You got to get those strategies in line, and I'm pretty sure the UK and I guys have their priorities in order when it comes to the strategy here for this race. Just looking to see closest battle on the track here. Pretty much everybody minding their P's and Q's now. Everybody pretty much just kind of spread out.
Yeah, well, you said everybody's minding their P's and Q's, and for good business, or for good reason. Again, it's a team event. There's a lot at stake here. The passion Matt had in his voice there about what they've done over the past few weeks. They're taking it seriously, and make no mistake, I can hear it in Matt's voice. The Finns are the target. Everybody wants a piece of the Finns, and well, you got to get through this race to do it. And it didn't sound like they were making any plans past today. So, any hope that I keep talking about Canada might have really may be fading at best here with every second that ticks down, because those guys are super focused and really on point right now. All of them still turning 138s and low 139s.
Now, Bergeron is taking the car officially behind the wall and out of the race. But one thing we should mention, too, here, Sean, the Corvettes, the GT1 cars, they don't take fuel and tires at the same time. They're not able to because of the whole Le Mans rule, which then leads to my question, at that point, do you not take tires and just fuel up the car and go?
Yeah, I just don't think the fall off of the tires is great enough here right now with what we're seeing. That I think you're going to go for fuel and get right out, man.
That might be the smart way to go, especially if you're somebody trying to just get the best finishing position possible. And I look at the closest racing on the track, it's still right here, 3rd through 5th. Jamie Fluke, Rob Reed, Kristen Challenger, they're all right here within 0.3 of a second of each other. Everybody else is pretty much a second or more apart. But these 3 guys, I don't know if really they're going to race that hard. They might be just trying to get that pit stop first.
Yeah, and Fluke just made a move for that 3rd position.
So you see Challenger. Yeah, Challenger, they're in 5th. I've been watching him. He's the guy I've been watching because you know deep down inside, he's like, man, I just want Atlanta. Let me go win both these races. Yeah, I'm speaking from the standpoint of, because I would be the same guy. I'd be like, look, I just won that race. Let me go try to get this one now. But again, I should. Go ahead, Sean.
We haven't talked about Richard Avery much and what he's doing. I mean, he's hanging with Wilfred Griffin right now. Not that Richard Avery's any slouch. OE of almost a 6,000 I rating him. But really solid. I mean, his laps have been just really consistent. He's got the fastest lap of the race right now with a 137.7. That's race pace. So if anybody's got a shot of hanging with Jurgertha right now, Richard has certainly proved to be the guy. Who knows? May want to challenge for the victory. Oh, trouble just ahead of. We were just talking about it.
Oh, Katowski.
Tom Katowski, yeah, into the wall, out of Villeneuve.
Oh, be careful. Yeah, let's see what happened to Katowski. He's out there on his own, the Central Eastern Europe driver. Working his way through, looks like the Villeneuve complex, and just loses it. And just pulls it off the track there, get out of the way of the other drivers. I think that's more what he's trying to do, is just stay out of everybody's way at this point. And hit the wall trying to stay out of the way, which I think he did that in Atlanta too. Poor guy. Feel bad for him. But should say, if you see in our chat right now on the Global Sim Racing channel, Michael Oliwet is updating the point standings, and as you see, UK and I has pretty much got a lot of points to none, is what he has said there. But needless to say, that's why we race. Anything can happen here in the next 29 minutes. And we should let everybody know, coming up at 7 o'clock, Sean, you and I get to hop on the DeLorean and head back to Richmond, Virginia for our race at 9 tonight. But Soup, your good buddy, is going to be here, and I think he just brought you some soup. But him and Losmer are going to be, Richard Losmer, are going to be in the booth for Group D action here on the Global Sim Racing channel with Northwest. Going to be a part of this. You got New York, Brazil, and I don't know what it is about the 4th team and me not remembering the 4th club. Going to be in that Group D race. California. Sorry, California people. Don't mean to leave the guys there on the West Coast out. I was trying to get them all in there. But they're going to be coming up with Group D at 7 o'clock.
Are we having soup and lobster tonight? Is that what I heard?
Might be. Well, we got grilled cheese and crackers for snack time, and then soup and lobster for surf and turf almost for dinner.
Yeah, Soup. Now, I hope Soup is going to keep the bias in check tonight, because I know he's a California club member, so we're going to watch out for that guy.
Well, if you really want to play a game tonight, Soup is the man. I learned this last week.
Fill
Soup
the
filled in
jar.
for you. Soup filled in for you last week as we did the bootleg race. That's what we got to do tonight at 9. We got to
Perry with
spin.
the spin on screen. He was battling there, and Perry gets around. Everybody gets by.
Do that gravel
makes me
trap.
so nervous. Right in the middle of traffic.
And looks like he's on his own. Looks like maybe the rear brakes locked up. A little bit of wheel hop into Villeneuve, and around she goes. Actually, I believe that was Tamburello where he spun at there. He's able to keep it going.
Yeah, he saw the traffic get by. He just stuck right there. I'm not moving. Please, everybody, go by.
Oh, another spinner. Randy Hall has spun the 330 car.
Yeah, he sure does.
Randy Huff, I believe that is. He's in 2030. He's already struggling a little bit.
Yeah, and he doesn't make any contact, though, and that's a good thing.
Keep the car in one piece.
Looked like a little bit too much brake there for him.
Now, what I was going to say before we had the issues there with a couple of spins, there's a game for viewers tonight that we can play with Soup. Soup is the man when it comes to analogies. So tonight, if you have whatever drink form, if it's water, soda, whatever it is, anytime Soup makes an analogy tonight, you take a drink. Responsibly.
Responsibly. Absolutely.
Soup is the man. He'll be there tonight. So look for him and Richard tonight as part of the GSRC coverage of Group D at 7 o'clock from Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Hey. Oh, and more trouble for Randy Huff. That car is obviously not handling well, or he's not handling well, one or the other. Hey, Chris, let's go through the top 10 real quick. Let's check out where everybody's at as we get close to the pit stops here. Just to get everybody kind of an idea where they're at before, let's just face it, craziness ensues.
Well, actually, Sleazen's on pit road now, but yeah, let's do that. Top 10, Wilcher Vergurth is your leader. He's got a 2.5 second lead over Richard Avery. Jamie Fluke, 8.9 seconds back into third position. You got Rob Reed, 9.4 back into fourth position. Christian Challenger, your winner from Atlanta, he is fifth, 9.7 seconds back. Alex Millwood, he is in the sixth position, some 20 seconds back in sixth. Again, seventh, Fraser Williamson. Eighth place is Dave Hill. Robert Jackman leading the Canadian group there in ninth, and Claude Bevel, also a Canadian there. He's some 44 seconds back in the top 10 as we see some pit stops as Andres Sleazens is on pit road. He's back in the 20th position, but that's your top 10.
Yeah, and right now, Sleazen's the only one that looks like he's in for regular service, although Marek Andrak comes in for his service. We've got a few cars that have been there on the pit lane for quite a while. Marianne Brybeck and Alex Bergeron, Dennis Razumov. Those cars have been in for service for quite a while. I don't know that we'll see them again today.
And that's what it could be about, too, is just short pitting, getting to the point where you know you can get all the way to the finish, basically. That's what you want to do. Just pit as soon as you can. That's what I'm thinking, at least. Pit as soon as you can, get your gas, and go. Taking a look at a couple of the Canadian drivers here in the... Oh, we got a spinner. Svoboda has gone around. Yeah, trying to figure out what corner this is. Looks like it's Villeneuve where he went off at.
Yeah, a little bit too much curb there.
Curb stop?
Just upsets the car. Yeah.
We got a curb stop.
A little bit too much of it. Does a good job of just sitting there waiting. Sees all that traffic coming at him. Thinks about it. Said, no, I got to look at all those cars.
Oh, and he backed it into the fence. That's never a good thing. Chevrolet people are not going to be happy about that move. But Svoboda was in the 11th position.
I was going to say body panels for these cars might be getting harder to find.
And I should mention, if you are watching a race, as you see, we do chat with you in the Global Sim Racing chat on YouTube. You can chat with us and pick on me some more for being an oval guy doing a road race. That's what it is. Or trying to mention Italian names. I'm doing the best I can. It's all about fun, though.
You know, Alex Millwood, another driver having a pretty solid effort so far. I mean, the car is clean. The car is good. He's sitting in 6th place. Another one of those UK and Ireland drivers that's really just strong right now. I mean, again, they're dominating the top 7. Robert Jackman still a good 8 seconds back from Fraser Williamson there, and we are getting ready to start seeing some pit stops here as they come around to complete 17 laps on these tires. I'm sorry, these tires, the fuel, because I said before the tires, I don't think they're going to really be an issue. I will be surprised to see anybody take them. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be fuel only, and I think it's going to be a little bit of fuel.
Yeah, you're not going to need much.
You're going to need what you need to get to the end, and I think enough practice has been done here over the past couple of weeks that I think everybody knows what their window is.
Right, and that's where you get the strategy on. One car spinning in the background. I just saw
Randy Huff.
Randy Huff is having a rough day, or a huff day, if you want to do it that.
No, Huff definitely having trouble. The Canadian driver, that car just not behaving well for him right now at all.
The only thing he hasn't done is huffed and puffed and knocked one of the walls down, and hopefully he doesn't do that. There's the first one of many for tonight. But I should mention cars that have pitted. Luke Ridgway, Svoboda has been on pit road. Sleasons and Ondrak are the only cars so far that have been on pit road in this race, according to my records. So, and maybe Rob Reed on pit road.
Challoner gets past Rob Reed. Finally, Reed makes a mistake on track. Sorry, guys, I picked it up.
Well, I thought Reed was going on pit road. I saw the switch in position happening because I was just that much of thinking they're not going to pass each other. I was wrong.
It was really just Reed making a mistake back at Tosa. Got in a little hot. Car ran up wide. Challoner able to get down up inside him.
Yeah, Claude Bevel on pit road, the Canadian driver.
All right, so there's one domino.
Bevel is running in the top 10. And some reason, Tregurtha just put RIP strategy. I'm not sure what he meant by that. Did something go wrong with the 71? We'll have to check. But Bevel leaving pit road.
Yeah, well, he's got the leaders coming around past him now. Jamie Fluke getting past the end of the pit lane now.
You're right on board with Bevel. You see there, car going by him.
Alex Millward has gone in. He was running 6th. 18 laps, decides to bring her in.
18 laps, only 20 minutes to go. Should be plenty of fuel. You probably don't even have to fill the tank up.
Nope. There's a magic number, Chris.
There is
a magic number, sir. Everybody has a magic number.
If I pit now, I can take this many gallons, or liters, I guess, since we're in Imola. By the way, I do got to ask a favor, Sean. Can we get some pasta before we go back to Virginia?
Ooh, I'll pick some up. I know a nice little place just down the road. I'll pick some up. We're good.
I like it. We got to get Joe some, by the way. He did drive.
Yeah, no, we'll do that. It's right over by the Coliseum.
Trouble! Tom Kwiatkowski's gone around again.
Boy, Kwiatkowski just not having a good day.
And you see, he's on his way to pit road there. That happened right at the end of Ravata. I'll get the Italian out.
Okay, here we go.
And Tregurtha's up in smoke. Holy cow! You saw this. The leader is up in smoke.
What?
On pit road is smoking.
Well, Richard Avery's around in the pit lane also. I'm trying to see what happened here. He's turned all the way around, going the wrong direction.
You know what? Tregurtha, I think, downshifted and blew it up.
Wow, this is a huge development.
Yeah, he blew it up. You can see him downshifting as it blows up.
And Richard Avery just behind him had tremendous trouble.
I don't know if we can get an onboard maybe of Tregurtha and just the sound maybe and see if you can hear it, the engine explode if it was on a downshift or...
Well, I'll tell you what, things have just gone absolutely crazy. Let's listen closely.
you don't really hear it blow up. But I mean, as soon as you hear the downshift, it's like the smoke comes out. Which again, these Chevy Corvettes too, they don't rev at a high, obviously RPM. They blow it, you get them like 9,000, they'll blow.
Well, I will tell you this.
Fraser Williamson on pit road.
The queue is lit in Tregurtha's pit. So we've got the ribs on, and I think we just put a pork loin on. They should be ready by the end of this race.
All right, pasta not needed. As Challenger takes the lead, the pasta will not be needed. I like it.
Yeah, Challenger is now your leader. Wow, what a change of events here at Imola.
The Challenger is going to lead now. You got Rob Reed in second, and then you got all the way back to third to Jason Harrison. And then Challenger's pitting.
Yeah, Fluke is our highest pitter right now, Chris.
He's some 55 seconds back, and I'm not sure what the delta is here with from pit road entry to exit with the pit stop. But Rob Reed going to lead now.
Yeah, it's been about somewhere between about 53 and 55 seconds. Challenger in now, getting that service.
Looks like Jason Harrison also on pit road, so Rob Reed, the only one out there now, and he's got Jason Fluke about 57 seconds back. Challenger's going to lead pit road now. Now the whole sweeping of the races is existent for Challenger. Fluke is just coming off of the final corner there in Ravata, so here he comes on the front straightaway. I think Challenger's going to beat him off. He did, big time. Makes you wonder if Fluke took tires.
Well, he did have a bit of a long pit stop, but I'll tell you, he was he was a good full 9.5 seconds longer than Challenger.
Oh, one car's right in front of Challenger.
Randy Huff.
That poor guy.
Yeah. Yeah, Randy Huff with more trouble with Challenger gets by clean.
As we have just a little over 15 minutes left in this race, as they've been going for 50 minutes. And I'm going to remind you, coming up, Group D will start at 7 o'clock, so a little over an hour from now. Soup and lobster, I guess, is what you've called, Richard, as Reed comes to pit road.
For the record, I may have said lobster. I'm not the one who called him lobster. Okay,
I'm just going off of what I heard. But should mention Fluke did take tires. I did check on that. Fluke did take tires, so that's where the 9-second difference came from.
I think
we'll see if that plays a run.
Are we good with Fluke? Or you think Fluke?
I'm good with Fluke.
Okay.
And just checking math.
Fluke almost sounds like we're trying too hard.
Yeah, it could be. But Dalton was. I was just checking the chat out. Dalton was talking about the engine issue for Tregurtha, and he said it just kind of randomly blew. So it's kind of an interesting thing there. No pun intended, but a Fluke thing. Might have given Fluke the lead.
Hey, big development. Challenger coming around. Taking over the lead from Rob Reed, who's just getting out of the pit lane. Reed's going to be about just under 5 seconds back.
The Reed probably took tires too, you think, here?
No, I don't know about that. Yeah, they were about the same distance apart, but no, actually Reed with just a little bit, about 2 seconds better than Challenger on the pit stop actually that time. So going an extra lap, obviously he took a little bit a little less fuel.
Another thing, just going back to the Tregurtha engine blowing, one thing I'm thinking about too, and I see it in chat and it's brought up, downshifting somewhere. Could that have caused it? Some kind of over-revving somewhere, if he maybe over-revved somewhere at like a Ravata or something like that. Could that be a possibility?
It's possible. It could have been the entry into the pit. Who knows? But boy, that guy looked like he had this race pretty much wrapped up, and the pit stop just deadly. Literally.
Yeah, this race was Challenger's and Avery's to lose. They were going to be 1-2, and now you got Tregurtha going to finish all the way back in 23rd, and you got Richard Avery 5th, some 30 seconds back. As Rob Reed of UK&I leads, you got Jamie Fluke, who is also of UK&I, running in 3rd. You got UK&I's Alex Millwood in 4th. You got Richard Avery, who's also UKNI. He's in the 5th position. Fraser Williamson, UKNI, running in the 6th position. So UKNI right now at the top 6 spots, even after the issues, as Fraser kind of ran it wide there in the corner. Dave Hill. Go ahead, Sean.
I was just going to say, you were getting on to Dave Hill. Canada doing a really good job of recovering right now to have themselves in the top 10 with their last 4 here.
Yeah, matter of fact, they got 7th, 8th, 9th right now, the Team Canada. So, yeah, they're doing what they got to do. As a matter of fact, top 10, as a matter of fact. So 7 through 10 is the Canada group, and in Central Eastern Europe in 11th with Daniel Petko.
Boy, Rob Reed would love a chance to find Challoner, but something we've seen with Challoner, a guy that has been covered by the Global Sim Racing channel before several times. When he gets in these situations, he's nearly impossible to beat. It's just him and the track and nobody around him. That's his time. And not a lot of time left here with just 11 and a half minutes. Challoner looking really, really good to finish this race strong. Get through Rabasa.
Sean, not to bring back memories, but Atlanta, when he won that race, it wasn't easy. Something happened when he was leading that race too. That can easily happen here. You get in front of a lap car and the lap car loses it, bam, your race could be done just like that.
Alex Millward still sitting back there in 4th and doing a really, really good job. The UK and Ireland drivers have been strong.
They are.
Yes, we knew that going in, and Matt's put together one heck of a team.
But you one car off the track up here in front of the lead. Luke Ridgway has gone off the track. The 13th place car, another UKNI guy.
Okay. Yeah, and he bangs up the right front of that. A little bit of the left rear also. That car went around.
No, it's all... Seems like a lot of cars having issues right there in the Villeneuve section on this track. And you see Ridgway there having all kinds of issues.
Well, you know, Villeneuve's real tough when you've got someone with you there. You'll find guys try to race with you there in Villeneuve, and it's so tough because you really got to have the car, that first left-hander, you got to have the car really far to the left, and then you've got to get it right back to the right. There's no room to do that, obviously, when you're racing with somebody through there, and it's tough to manage the car in that
Well, let me ask you this question, Sean. You got a corner section there. You're coming off of Tamborelli. You got a straightaway there, and you got a left-handed, almost like a kink before you hit that right-hander at turn 6. The braking there, I've always had trouble with this when you try to brake entering a corner to try to set up that next corner. Could that be something these drivers are having the issue with too, as they're braking and the rear wheels are locking up as they try to make that corner?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's much the trouble I was having when I was practicing last night. It's just, listen, you want to be fast, right? You don't want to slow the car down so much that you can't be fast, and it's tempting. And it's especially tempting when you've got traffic around you, and really, the pressure is real. It's real at this track when you've got cars around you. And Challoner, a very, very lucky guy right now. He doesn't have anybody around him.
No, he doesn't. Got a 6-second lead over Rob Reed. You got Fluke there in the 3rd position. Now, the other question I'll ask too, Sean, is can you adjust an issue from that happening, like brake bias?
The brake bias, yes, but the important thing to remember on the C6 is you don't have any anti-lock brakes like the GT3 car has.
Very good point.
It's something you've really, really got to manage because the brakes on this car, to be quite frank, just aren't really good. It's a heavy car, and it feels like a heavy car when you're trying to stop it.
Closest battle on the track. I'm going to bring this up because 5th, 6th, and 7th is about to get interesting. Richard Avery is in 5th. Fraser Williamson, he's gaining time on Avery. He's about 1.5 back, and then 2 seconds back to Dave Hill. This is a good battle going on here, about to shape up. As a matter of fact, Williamson's already caught Avery. It's a work their way through, looks like Minarelli. Why, he just lets him go. Avery off the pace now. Oh, right in front of him. LaRon goes in front of Williamson.
Oh, wow. Oh, that was so lucky. LaRon gets around and they just get by.
But yeah, I think Avery got a slowdown there, and that's going to cost him 2 spots. So Dave Hill, the Canadian, up to 6 now.
LaRon pulls out right in front of Fraser Williamson, guys. LaRon trying to get the car back around, pulls right out in front of Williamson. Williamson almost piles him. Let's look at it on board. This is tense.
Wow, yeah, that's... Williamson going to need a pair of underwear after the race, likely.
Wow. I'm not happy.
Another car off the track right in front. Andrew Packer right in front of Williamson and these guys here, but he gets it back on track. Williamson trying to work on the lap car of Ondrak here. See if he lets him go. Looks like they will. But Dave Hill is right there in the back of Williamson now. If Ondrak lets him go.
Yeah, not exactly how you want to enter that turn if you're Dave Hill, but he manages. Williamson got to hang on to it here for about 6 more minutes. Brother, as he had seen some trouble today. Jeez, all right in front of him.
But doing a great job there in the top 5. And that's your closest battle right there, that Williamson battle. As I'm looking over at telemetry, Williamson and Dave Hill, this is the 5th and 6th place battle. Hill trying to get a top 5 for the Canadian team. Of course, as you watched back in Atlanta, it was Alex Bergeron getting a 4th place finish for the Canadian team. Dave Hill trying to do the same. Coming up about 5 minutes here, so roughly about 2.5 laps to go in this race.
I honestly can't believe it. I said this in the oval race. Can't believe we're this close to getting it over.
Hey, having a fight here.
What more of this?
The battle between Richard Avery and Bevel. Bevel's gone by Avery, so Avery's got some kind of issue going on. It's almost like Avery just let him go. Not sure if he had another slowdown or something, or...
That is odd.
Or you know what, maybe it's on the front straightaway. You wonder if Avery had a mistake in a... Yeah, well, maybe a slowdown on coming out of Ravata. He might have had a slowdown or something because Bevel was way back and just caught him and passed him.
I don't know. Maybe Avery's car's got a little bit of damage that's maybe affecting it there, Chris.
That's a lot of top end speed he's losing, though, if that's the case. And then Williamson, I'm watching this battle here with Dave Hill, about 0.7 of a second back. You got that battle. You got Scott Velez and Daniel Petko back here, Central Eastern Europe, trying to make a move to 10th. It's a good fight there also. And Tom Kostowski, unfortunately, paying the grass bill again.
Yeah, no, he honestly, no, hats off to him. He just got out of the way. He let second place get by, and Rob Reed was coming through. He just said, you know what, I'll just pull off right here. Oh, and Tom's still off course, actually.
He's like, hey, I think I found a fast way around.
Yeah, no, that car is like, you know what, he's got heavy damage on the left front. Tom got wrapped up in something back there, and not good for the car right now.
He's just probably trying to get it down to the finish here. He's got a little 3 minutes, so a little over a lap.
Randy Huff having more trouble. He just spun. That was down in Tosa. Cars getting by him. He keeps the car stopped.
And the battle. Yeah, battle's on for 5th here too. Dave Hill is there. He is on Williamson now. As Randy Huff, having his tough time there. And he finally got the wall, so he huffed and puffed and got that wall.
Oh. All right, well, yeah, let's talk about this battle. Dave Hill, he has caught Fraser Williamson.
About 4/10 back there. He's got to get to him. He's got a lap car up in front of him here. That could help him out.
A pick.
Oh, and you know what? We might have a slowdown here on the 73. He got some wheels off. That's going to be tight. Looks like no, he's still going. Lap car lets him go.
Comes Dave Hill looking to the inside. Woo! Just a peek. Just a peek. Drives it in so deep.
And looking at Challenger, by the way, he is working his way into the Paratella section, so he'll probably be seeing the white flag this time by. And Williamson all of a sudden stretching Dave Hill on the straightaway. They're up to 0.8 of a second.
You know, did we talk about Claude Blevel much? He's up 6 spots, got himself in the 7th right now.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, Canada's still showing pretty strong. Come on, Dave Hill.
Yeah, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 10th for the Canadian drivers. Richard Avery in the Canadian sandwich there.
Oh, Williamson with contact gets into Andrew Packer, the lap car right in front of him.
Oh, and Hill's off the track.
Oh, and Hill is off. Yeah, just behind him. Oh, no. Oh, that's probably going to do it for Hill. Look how much space he opened up on him there.
That's one of those things. You're a lap car at this point in the race. You might as well just stop and just move. Because that's, I mean, you're less than a minute to go in a battle for 5th going on there. I mean, I'm not picking a Packer for that, but that's just something I think I would do in that case, is just get off the track and move, you know, instead of being in the middle of the corner with 2 guys coming on you.
Well, here we go. Down to almost 30 seconds here at Imola. The C6s have not disappointed, Chris.
No, they haven't. Is looking at Challenger here as he works his way into Paratella. I believe he's going to get the checkered flag. We should be on the final lap here because I don't think he's going to get back before the time runs out as he works to Akmanueli. And here we are 50 minutes in. I'm still not getting the names right, but I'm trying. As he comes up to Griante Alta and
Rob
into the
Reed.
final 3 corners.
Rob Reed still holding down 2nd place.
Wow, one car spun in front of Chandler. It was a little run, but they continue on. Down into the final section, 13, 14, 15. Into Ravazza. And the long stretch home. All the way on the long straightaway. Today you can sum up Group C as a UKI dominant performance. Chandler is going to sweep at Atlanta and Imola.
Rob Reed going to bring it home in 2nd. Jamie Fluke going to sweep the podium out for the UK and Ireland team. What a great day for them. They knock out the top 5. Canada still trying to make their way around the track.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to get 6th will probably be the best. Millwood gets 4th as he crosses the stripe. And all the way back here to Williamson and Hill, which looked to be a great battle. Unfortunately, a little bit of lap interaction with a lap car.
Yeah, Dave, I'm sure Dave wants a do-over on that next to last lap.
Yeah, safe to say
break
so.
for Dave Hill. Dave was driving great, too. He had it on rails. I think he had something for Williamson there and just comes up a little bit short, Chris.
Williamson, yep, going to get the 5th place finish. He crosses the line. Dave Hill will get 6th. And unless anything else happens, you'll see Claude Bevel takes 7th. And Jackman and Velez got by Avery. So move Avery back to 10th. So that damage on his car obviously affected him as Bevel comes across the line. Jackman comes across the line. And here comes Velez. So the top 10 going to get across here and wrap up this race. Just a great dominant run by the UKI. They are likely heading to the finals next week. So Challenger getting his 2nd win of the day here in Group C. So here's what we'll do. We're going to take a break. We'll go through all the standings here and wrap it up and get you ready for Group D racing coming up from Atlanta Motor Speedway, but we're here to Imola as Christian Challoner makes it 2 for 2 in a day. Group C on the Global Sim Racing Channel. And back at Imola after another UK&I dominance, they are on their way to the final after Christian Challoner running in the third position when the leaders had issues getting onto pit road, and Challoner are able to sweep the races here in Group C for the World Cup of iRacing. And if you take a look at our final standings, it is Challoner taking the win. Rob Reed going to finish in the second position. Jamie Fluke finishing third. Don't know why I said Jeff. Alex Millward going to finish fourth, and Fraser Williamson completing the top five for all of UK&I. Dave Hill going to be the first Canadian driver finishing sixth. Claude Bevel finishing seventh. Robert Jackman going to finish eighth. Scott Velez ninth, and Richard Avery, a guy that ran second, got damaged in the accident there on pit road, finishing in the 10th position.
All right, then let's get back to 11th, and that's going to be Miroslav Svoboda, Simon Maltby in 12th, Jason Perry 13th, Daniel Petko 14th, Alexander Slurzak, it's going to be 15th. Try it on that one, guys. Luke Ridgway, 16th. Jason Harrison, 17th. Andrus Slissons. Yeah, Slissons. There we go. Andrus Slissons going to finish 18th. Andrew Packer, 19th. Merrick Andrak, 20th today.
And taking a look at the rest of the field, 21st, Robert Laronde. Randy Huff had a tough day on the rough Imola track, finishing 22nd. That's 3 rhymes in one sentence. Tom Katowski, 23rd. Will Tregurtha, we'll talk to him. He finished 24th. He was the guy that was pretty much out in another county leading this race. Alec Bergeron, 25th. Marek Breivik finishing 26th, and 27th, Dennis Razumov finishing there. Unfortunately, last but not least, John King was the one of the admins in the race, so he didn't run in this. As let's bring Fraser Williamson down here first, as Sean and I will talk to them both as Fraser joins us. A good 5th place run, and I think you know the question we're going to here, Fraser, and that's the battle with you and Dave Hill, and what happened there with about 3 minutes to go with the lap car.
If I knew what happened with that lap's car, that incident would have never happened. I would thought I'll take the inside into this next corner, but lap car took the inside and all sorts just happened.
Well, talk about the racing out there, because you and Dave put on a great show there at the end, but you did a great job getting yourself a top 5. I know you said in chat, wow, 5th place, a run for you. You got to be happy about that.
Yeah, 5th place was good. The battle that we had, it was more me just trying not to lose my cool, trying not to have a self-spinning issue. This Corvette, that's incredibly easy to do. It was all about just getting all 10 cars to the finish, in which we managed to get most of them there. So enough points to get us to face Finland again in the World Cup final.
Everybody aiming at the fins, just like you said, Sean. But Fraser, let's talk about Villeneuve, that turn 5-6 complex. I know that's where you had your issues out there, but it seemed like a lot of people were having issues in Villeneuve.
Yeah, it's a tricky corner. You're coming down from 5th to 3rd, then to 2nd for the right hand. It's all about trying to maintain momentum. Some drivers didn't quite grasp that. So when you come round to lap in there in the big high curb chicane, they were your 2 issues with lap traffic.
Fraser, Sean here. The tires, talk to us a little bit about that. How did they hold up? Did they really start to fall off after that pit stop, or is it just kind of a gamble going on bad tires?
Tires, I find them not too bad because I'm used to doing full long stints, whereas we had fuel limited. We were only doing maybe about a fuel tank as it was in that set of tires, so it's about normal. We had the usual setup tire pressures, so it didn't feel anything out of the ordinary except from a bit more fuel and then less fuel, then more fuel difference on old tires, which always messes up your brain.
All right, Fraser, gonna have a little fun here, okay? We want you to say something for the fans.
Okay.
Well, maybe not. Maybe not. No, we're not gonna have that fun. I don't know. You want to have some fun, Fraser?
Just give a shout out to all your to the viewers and to your people UK and I, because you guys are going to the finals.
Yeah, alright. Yep, Ramshid's telling me to do it. What do I need to do?
Fraser, we appreciate your time. We'll let you go get ready for your race against Finland next week, and congratulations on your 5th place run.
Thanks.
Great day, Fraser. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Fraser Williamson finishing in 5th, and of course he was in his own battle there, 5th and 6th with Dave Hill, and the guy that was pretty much running away with the show before something weird happened was Will Tregurtha, and Will joins us now. Will, all right, we're going to ask the elephant in the room. You want to explain that whole deal going on the pit road?
I don't really know what happened, to be honest. I didn't over-rev it. It certainly didn't even hit the end of the rev scale on the dash, so to be honest, I don't really know.
It just had to be a freak deal. That was, obviously, you probably weren't having any kind of temperature issues or anything like that, correct?
No, I didn't have any temperature issues. I didn't even hit curb too much. Had no damage on the car. The max revs I hit on that downshift was on that first orange light, so it wasn't even on the end. of the delta on the dash, so it was really odd. Wasn't very happy about it, as you can imagine.
Absolutely. No, you're running away with the show. But talk about the first 20 laps of the race before everything went downhill for you. I mean, you had to be happy about that.
Yeah, it was really good. The UK and I guys have done really well. The setup was great, so I couldn't fault anyone on that. Just had to kind of cruise for a bit, really. We had really good pace compared to the other clubs, so we just kind of stayed in formation and just cruised until the pit stops. We were debating how much fuel we'd need, so it looks like we kind of overestimated a bit on that, but it's better than running out of fuel, isn't it? So yeah.
So, Will, quick question from Sean here. Sorry about the bad luck. I thought maybe you were driving a Toyota there for a second. I hate to see that happen to you. But real quickly, how instrumental was Matt in putting this whole thing together for you guys?
Really, really huge. He's been absolutely amazing getting everything sorted out. I know it's not an easy job. To be fair, I wasn't even meant to be racing this. Originally I said that I couldn't do it, and then I had the free time to do it at the last minute, so I just popped on over and said, look, I can do this, I'm doing these lap times. So he said, well, I'll put you in as reserve, and then someone couldn't do it, so I was in.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm a big fan of that number. It's this very same one I run on the iRacing service, so I don't think you have any worry, though. I don't think we'll wind up in the same split at any given time ever in my iRacing history. But that's what I wanted to ask you about. Matt had told us you have a little bit of real-world experience. I think he said GT4s?
Well, this year I won the Ginetta Junior Championship in the UK, which is quite a big championship for junior drivers. So we race on the same weekends as the British touring cars. I don't know if you guys know those.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly familiar with them. What kind of car do you run?
Ginetta G40.
All right. Well, hey, congratulations to you. That's pretty cool. And
yeah, thanks.
You're working on your Road to Pro here in iRacing as well, aren't you?
Yeah. I wanted to do the F1 Pro Series, but I just don't have enough time with that. So I kind of switched over to the GT3 stuff. So we've got a really good team for the GT3s. I joined Apex Racing UK a few months ago. So that's the goal, to try and get the pro license and jump into the Blancpain Pro Series. So we're going to have a crack at that and see where we end up.
Yeah, certainly would love to see you there. And well, we've seen you before, and we've certainly seen Apex Racing quite a bit. So we know about their prowess and what kind of team those guys have put together. But hey, listen, Will, again, great day today. And you know what? Let's see. You know what? We'll see you in the finals. You going to be there?
Is that next weekend?
Yes. That is.
Unfortunately not.
Oh,
I'm a little bit busy. Oh well. I've got a few things lined up, so unfortunately I can't do that. But I'm definitely going to help the team with the setup and give them some replays, etc., to help get the other people up there.
Well, we congratulate you at least on the early run. We feel bad for you that you had the bad luck, but congratulations to your club there, UK and I. You're on to the finals next week, and we wish you the best in your pro career, too.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, Tragerta there, unfortunately finishing in the 24th position, dominated the early part of that race, but that's going to do it for us, Sean. We're going to bring in Soup now as Bill Zahn is going to join us. Bill is going to be with Richard coming up here at 7 o'clock on the Global Sim Racing channel. He's back over in Atlanta where we were and left him a nice mess in the booth on purpose. And Bill, Group D, you got some American clubs there. You got a club from Brazil. We got a pretty good matchup, I think, in front of us.
I do. When it comes down to name pronunciations, I think Richard and I got the best of the bunch here with New York and the Northwest Club. And, of course, we have California, my home state, and then even Brazil is a little Portuguese. I just studied Spanish in high school, so I think we should be in pretty good shape. You guys had a little rougher in your group.
Well, that's why I left purposely to have Sean to say all the names for the most part. But it was some great racing here, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys tonight. I know Sean and I are going to be watching while we fly over to Richmond for the Bootleg Outlaw Modified Series race at 9 o'clock this evening. But we wish you and Richard the best. And what are you looking forward to the most, Bill?
Well, I'd like to maybe see if we can get an upset here. Okay, it's Northwest is good with numbers, and New York has the talent if they can just get the drivers out there. So let's see if we can get a Cinderella into that Final Four. That's our goal.
That could be the case. And Bill, we'll see you guys coming up here at 7 o'clock.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hey,
Bill's
and
on.
real quickly, Chris, Sue, I stopped over at Gladys Knight's Chicken and Waffles over there in Atlanta, and I left you a plate in the booth, buddy.
That's good. Thank you. Keep it over for me. Thank you, Sean.
Nice job. Well, Sean, that's wrapping it up for us for now, and then we're going to switch seats and head over to Richmond tonight for the bootleg race. But great job. I had fun.
Yeah, Chris, it was an absolute blast. I've been tuned in all day, and whereas I do have to step away for another broadcast, I will be keeping an eye on what's going on here as we get ready for Group D. And I can't thank you enough, and everybody here that got to watch today on iRacing Live and the Global Sim Racing channel. It was a blast.
It was a blast, and we appreciate you, Sean, and we wish you, Bill and Richard, the best tonight at 7 o'clock. They're on. Sean and I are back at 9 o'clock tonight on the Global Sim Racing channel for the Bootleg Outlaw Modified Series for those interested in that. But we'd like to thank everyone responsible for the iRacing World Cup, particularly Mike Alouette for organizing this series and contracting with GSRC to broadcast it.
And thanks to the company's equipment and software that you see on the screen now that we use on our broadcast. The original music you've heard on today's broadcast is thanks to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde. See the screen for how to contact each of them.
And the iRacing World Cup returns next week, November 12th, for the final round from the Brickyard Oval and the twists and turns of Spa. I can't wait to see cars go up over Rouge. I love that place. But you can watch all the action at our friends at Race Spot next week for the finals.
And if you'd like to find out more information about GSRC, like upcoming broadcasts and archive races, your best bet is GlobalSimRacingChannel.com. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook /Global Sim Racing Channel.
We would also like to thank MaxSpeed TV and Race Spot for their great coverage earlier today of the World Cup of iRacing. We'd also like to thank Dougie Beard on the cameras, Joe Peak keeping us in check, or tried to, at least. I give him credit for that. And, of course, Sean Ambrose for joining us. But I'm Chris Scala. Race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.